Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with Andrew Velez, Joe Dells, and Mr. John Tortorelli is in the building.
Tortellini, what the hell's up, man?
First time in the new studio. This is a new experience and it's an absolute blast to be here. And week 3 football upon us. I'm excited to be here.
How you feeling about the Steelers, bro?
Not great.
Not great? Okay.
It's obviously a tough spot to be in coming off last week's game. There's so much defensively. It looked horrible. And I'm at a point where it feels like wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, a bad defense is following him.
It sucks because he looks okay.
He doesn't look bad. I thought last week the stats would have said he played a worse game than he actually did. He had some great throws. Pat Frymouth, I'm already frustrated with. And
that's
beyond
fine
that,
because week 1 the numbers were too kind to him.
yes,
That's
well said,
There were
actually.
2 balls that bounced off a Jet defender in week 1, which were both non-intercepted, which very easily could have been.
I mean,
But
the DK
Rodgers-
catch.
The DK catch.
Yeah, Rodgers is playing solid ball, and
Yeah.
it's really everything around him, which I didn't expect to be saying thus far. And the Patriots play us quite well. So
I really like the fact that John is a contextual person. He acknowledges all the problems with the Steelers, unlike Jets fans who try to blame it all
He's a
on
better man than
Rodgers.
me. Yeah.
John is saying, listen, Rodgers is playing just fine enough, but our team has to step it up. Jets fans, defense falls off from top 5 to one of the worst in the league, and it's all Rodgers' fault. So thank you, John.
To the
Appreciate
lone
it.
Jets fan that I know, he stayed consistent. Rodgers had moments to be great, and
Yes,
he wasn't.
Thank you.
He also gave him his due diligence down the stretch of the season that he was really good. He also said that the defense was bad.
I just hated how they treated a Packer legend.
But I'm saying, like, the lone Jet fan that I know,
Yeah.
he was very consistent from the start.
I couldn't have said it better. Rodgers wasn't the reason the Jets sucked last year. There was a million reasons why the Jets sucked last year, like they suck for basically every single year. But Rodgers, it's not like Rodgers was the shining star in this star team. Or not, like he wasn't doing anything special outside the last few games when he was playing Jacksonville and these whatever teams. In the beginning of the year when the Jets 2-1, you know what I mean? You had a game against Minnesota. We've talked about this a million times.
He's
But when
41.
he had the opportunity. Sure.
Brady
41.
was retired at 45.
He had an awesome team around him.
My God, here we go with this.
The Bucks were awesome.
They were. He was awesome.
The Bucks
He was
were,
awesome.
He did
they
for
were
5
so much better
bands.
than the
Yeah,
Jets.
there's no other Brady. Brady's
No.
Brady.
But Rodgers is also, he's Rodgers.
To the age that Brady played at, nobody's ever going to play like that again.
That's true.
So if you were the Jets, you would have brought back Rodgers instead of trying to just youthful movement. Like what are we doing with Rodgers?
I
on the
don't
team,
know, bro. This
realistically?
offensive line with Rodgers, I'm
Yeah.
hated.
But they're cooked either way, so it don't matter.
I don't disagree.
So now it's better
Until they don't have a quarterback. But I would have rather taken the chance. Like, okay, Justin Fields, maybe become something. Maybe
You know what I will
mean?
say though? The team that should have went out and they should have signed Aaron Rodgers was the Minnesota Vikings. They should have went out and signed Aaron Rodgers.
They got Carson Wentz, a former MVP candidate. Candidate.
Well, MVP to the point where he
Yes.
got injured.
yes.
Candidate. Rodgers with Minnesota, that would have been something to see. I think that would have been a great situation for him, but they ain't want to trust the vet. It's unfortunate. But today is the NFL Pick'em Week 3 episode brought to you by Splash Sports. Now, Splash Sports has been kind enough to give us our own referral code.
Let's go.
So now it's no more going and joining the contest so they keep track if you guys are going to that app. Now it's much easier. And this is a promo code. PICK, pick,
Okay. Pick.
AS. AS. So pick ass.
Pick as.
Pick ass. That's
Pick
it.
as.
Pick ass. Or ass. Whatever you want
pick
to
as.
say. Pick ass.
Pick as.
Yes. Pick ass.
Tough.
$50 deposit match. 100% payout boost on their first quick picks entry.
Dang.
$20 max and 2+ picks to qualify.
Okay.
The link is in our description right now, and we already have a quick pick that I cultivated. I went behind your guys' back and decided to do it myself.
Sorry, let's see if it's a good bet or not.
I decided to backpack.
Don't worry, Dale. Sit this one out, bro.
All right, good looks.
So let's go. Let me go to the quick picks. Let me go to active.
Okay.
So
kills
I-
me. He kills me when he doesn't have
First
it right.
time.
Drake
Here we
May
go.
more than 255.5 passing and rushing
I don't know if you
yards.
guys know this, but I'm a Drake May fan now. So I love this. This is excellent.
Nice. Kenneth Walker
Mm.
more
Mm-hmm.
than 66.5 rushing plus receiving yards against the Saints.
I like that a lot. Kenny's been, I should say,
Perfect
last game.
run game versus Steelers last week.
100%.
10
He
carry.
he needed that.
Yep.
He needed that terribly.
Yep.
I like that play.
I think Sharps might be a bit banged up.
Yeah.
Sharps is not good.
No, but he gets carries.
He's
They need
just
to
not
cut
better
him.
than Kenneth Walker. That's it. Kenneth
for
Walker is a demon. He just needs to get his carries. And needs the offensive line to
Maybe
block
me
for him.
saying they need to cut him was strong. I will say he should be playing less than 20% of snaps.
Sharps, when he's good, looks great. And when he's bad, looks terrible.
Sharp is
Last year, he
that
had a
bad.
couple games where he looked really good.
On a 1 to 10, Charbonnet is a strong 5. Fine.
Sharp is the perfect backup running back.
100%.
Like,
He
probably
reminds
is
me
the
like
best
AJ
backup.
Dillon.
Yeah, I think he's got a little more than to AJ Dillon.
AJ's just north and south. Charbonnet,
true.
he
He's
got,
got-
some wiggle to him. Although not much, but I think he's the best backup running back in the
But
league.
you know what I mean? Like AJ Dillon, you give him a spot start. Maybe he's,
Best
I don't
backup.
know. I don't
Who's
know.
a better
Montgomery.
backup?
Montgomery,
Sure,
easy.
My bad.
Yeah.
That's him.
Algier, Ray Davis, I would say is better.
Najee Harris or
Najee Harris is better.
might be the starter. Myron stinks.
Yeah,
He stinks.
Shout Najee.
trying to think.
Is Najee
getting
Harris
receptions
better
up last
definitively?
week. I would say Najee's better.
I would take
Najee's
Najee.
got
They're
a lot
like
of,
the same.
lot
I'm
of
not
hate.
gonna lie.
RJ Harvey or him?
I'll go Harvey.
Yeah.
But no, Sharp is still one of the better running backs.
He's one of the better
Backups.
backup running backs
Yes.
for sure. One
If
of the
he's
better
my backup,
backups.
I feel very solid
Braylon
about
Allen or
that
Charbonnet?
position group. Charbonnet.
He fell off.
Braylon, I wish the hype that Braylon Allen gets, and I don't mean a shot at him. I love Braylon Allen. I think one day he could be good.
He's just slow.
But it's 2 years in a row where he gets all this love in training camp in the preseason, and I get hyped for him. The regular season comes, it's like
No burn.
it hasn't translated yet.
He's just slow. I think that's his biggest thing, and he's very north and south.
He is.
If he doesn't have an open hole, he's not going to do much with the carry.
I get it. Jordan Mason or him?
Jordan Mason.
Jordan
Jordan
Mason.
Mason,
Comfy.
I would say is
Yeah.
better.
Comfy.
Jordan Mason.
Ty Chandler or him?
Oh,
Charbonnet.
Yo, Ty Chandler was not bad in his
Or are
opportunity.
you asking about
man.
Braylon
I mean, a
Allen?
couple of years
No,
back.
I'm talking.
A couple of years ago, Ty
I
Chandler.
think it was 2 years ago,
No,
right?
it's,
Ty Chandler?
it's Charbonnet.
Yeah.
It's Charbonnet.
I don't know, man.
And Mason's technically a starter. I
can
view
hear
him
that.
as a starting. guy.
Kareem Hunt or Charbonnet?
Charbonnet. Kareem Hunt's done.
He's whack.
Jerome
He is
Ford or
whack.
him?
Jerome Ford, probably. But that's
Ford's been so.
I wouldn't
good.
mind Sharp either, though. I mean, I think
Don't
that's
you
a
just love
toss-up.
throwing names?
Just seeing where
Just
people
some waters.
Sharps.
Zach Moss or him?
Charbonnet.
Sharps.
I think I would
sure.
say Charbonnet too.
Zach Moss.
I don't even know if he's on the team.
DJ
right now.
Gooden?
I'm going Sharps.
Sharps.
But that's our quick picks entry.
There it
Kenneth
is.
Walker and Drake May. We're going with both of those on quick picks. So if you guys want to use the Splash Sports app and help us out,
Use code
our
PICKAS.
code. Exactly.
PICKAS.
As.
PICKAS.
You can say it the other way too. It's whatever you prefer, really. But yes, help out the podcast. Our Week 3 NFL Pick'em contest is almost filled up. We're almost at 200 entries.
Love that.
And this week they have made it even bigger. So
Bro, I was
now
going to
it's-
say, they blessed
yes.
us. 450 now.
So now 450 people can enter, and the prize for this is $2,000.
That's what happens.
So you enter 450 people, $5 a pop, $2,000 reward, and that's how it's gonna go.
Don't worry, guys.
Love
I'm
that.
taking this one home.
Okay.
This is my week.
Listen, I'm rooting for you all from afar.
I'm a big power manifestation guy. This is my week.
You
I'm feeling good.
Share your picks or no?
I genuinely,
just-
I
okay.
have to.
Okay.
You know, like
It has
part
to
of the
be
show.
this
Literally
week.
have to.
You have to get back into the mix.
I've been seeing the shots people have been taking at me, and I want to say they've been justified. They've been fair. I've been horrendous. In the first 2 weeks, there's been lights on, nobody home in this brain of mine. This is my get back.
Okay.
This is my get back.
So what's the standings update? Remind me.
I wish we didn't have to do this.
Riv and
I just
I are
wanna-
tied.
Uh-huh.
Dell's is second place.
One game behind.
John is third place, and Drew is fourth
John,
place.
who hasn't even
Or
had
fifth
his
place.
picks shown.
In week
He's ahead of
one,
me.
in week one, I didn't submit my picks. Week 2, I had 12 and 4.
What was your week 1 record? Do you
I didn't
know?
submit picks for week
Okay.
1. That's not a great
So
start.
wait, how is he ahead of me?
You're right. So
Yeah.
unless he would have did
last
horrendously
week?
bad.
Last week I
1.
saw us tied
Either-
second
either way, you're
for
last.
week 2.
It's all right. It's okay. You got. Everyone has to start somewhere.
And I'm doing something special this year. I told Dells this on Twitter, but I'm mirroring every one of his picks.
I tried to do that last year, bro. It just gets boring.
Come on, bro.
It's fine.
But honestly,
trying to win.
But mirroring his
His
pick,
push is boring.
mirroring his picks is mirroring FanDuel. So like,
You can't mirror my picks because I could always change it in the app.
I can
it's
always
true.
track when you change it.
No, you can't. You can't see my
until
picks
the game's
until it
live.
locks.
He's right. He's right.
I'll take an educated guess on where you went.
Okay.
Either way, I'm making you pick an underdog because you're only going to go for the favorites.
Maybe.
It just sounds like there's a lot of extracurriculars going to this one.
There's like when they lose back-to-back years, John. This is what, I mean, you were part of that. Too.
But I mean,
this is what happens. They start trying these
Drew,
different
you're right.
strategies.
All I'm doing
I got two
I'm looking
belts.
at what team has a higher percentage to win on Splash.
Exactly.
And then I'm picking that team.
That's literally all
and
you
that's
have
what
to
Dell's
do.
picks are.
But if it's a 50-50, if it's a coin toss, sometimes he'll lean the home team. You know, like
Let me see how many over 50s or under 50, I should say, I picked this week.
But John,
might be none. Who knows?
This is your first time in the studio.
Yeah, it's the first few minutes took me a lot of time to get comfortable with because I'm used to sitting up and I'm sitting back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's completely different to think aloud and speak when you're saying it in a different way. But I love it.
I get it. For me, it feels like nothing's too changed outside of like the obvious, just because the way I sit, you know, my chair kind of swivels, kind of electric. But I get where you're coming from, man. That's definitely a more laid back vibe.
I got 5 under 50% this week. One of them's 49.5. So
yeah, exactly.
4.
I know how you.
But
roll.
a couple of them are like in the
Whoa.
30s, in the 30%ers.
Okay, he's swinging for the fences.
Baby, hey,
I like it.
Maybe this is where we get
I
back.
like it. This is what happens when you're up on the Pick'em champion. Is that he starts changing
Second
his
guessing.
game
It's true.
style. He starts playing differently.
Cook.
He starts second guessing his best moves.
He's cooking.
I always, in the beginning of the year, I always struggle because I don't really have a great lay of the lands. But as the weeks go on, I feel like it just gets better and better. But this week, or this year, I should say, I'm 1 game behind 2 weeks in. I feel great. I feel fantastic.
Let's get into it then. We have the Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills Thursday Night Football.
No. This is gonna be out by the time the game's over. But we're all taking Bills.
We should all take the Bills, unless you want to take the Dolphins. It would be on.
I don't have really anything to say.
But what
about
you
this
took
game.
the first 2 weeks.
This
would be your third week taking the Dolphins,
which is ridiculous.
3-0 start,
Which is nuts.
in Drew's
In
mind.
my mind.
Yes.
You're not taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, last week I didn't hate it. Last week it was there.
This week there's a revenge game.
This week I will be taking the Buffalo Bills. That's easy.
Yeah.
However, there's so much on the line for this game.
Yeah.
Dolphins win this game, you can get delusional. We can beat the Bills. We can beat any team. Why would we fire McDaniel? Why would we fire Tua? The real who watched last week's game outside of the last drive realized, hey, not a bad offensive showing. Our defense is horrendous, putrid, garbage. It's not good. Secondary is one of the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime. But if you go out there and you beat the Bills, McDaniel doesn't get fired. The conversations about moving on from Tua, that could die down a little bit.
For a week.
Tyreek getting traded, that also dies down too. You beat the Bills, you can beat anyone. However, 45-28 Buffalo Bills tonight.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. Buffalo, the way that they've played the first 2 weeks, they had the comeback win against Baltimore, which was obviously a huge win. But week 2, I'm not going to sit here and act like most people didn't think the Jets were going to have a competitive game against them. I think we all had hopes that it would be maybe within a touchdown, and then just shut them down. They said we're not messing around. It's week 2. We might be on the road, but we're dominant. This is what we do. I expect them to do the same thing against Miami.
It comes down to me for the Bills the longest time how to stranglehold in this division. And it's another home game. If it were Miami, I could see myself maybe talking into this Dolphin offense making a 1 or 2 score affair.
Me too, man.
It really, though, is a tough matchup for Miami. You look at just how well this Bills offense is humming. And then on top of that, I feel like they're just an extra layer. It's kind of like that elephant in the room that the Dolphins have not been able to beat the Bills and Buffalo. So I've got the Bills today. I think I'll make a prediction 35-21.
I'll tell you what, it's been competitive. In Buffalo, it's been competitive. Buffalo just pulls it out
Every time.
I think Miami could move the ball. I think the Bills really struggle to guard that quick game stuff. So I think Miami has a little bit of an advantage there. Maybe they could put up some points. I just think this defense overall has taken a major step back in a way that I didn't anticipate because the secondary we knew was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the defensive front is pretty putrid too.
It's killing me.
I think mostly is just the middle of their defense, the spine of their defense. Those 2 big guys in the middle. Zach Siller really hasn't been a good run defender. Neither has the rookie Kenneth Grant. That's made them rely on smaller defensive linemen. Like defending the run, they have sometimes Chop Robinson and Matt Judon setting the edges, which those are smaller edge rushers. And then on the interior, they just don't have any size. So they get pushed around. And now it's against New England. So I think the Buffalo Bills are gonna win pretty handily. And I don't know if you guys have checked their schedule this year.
Lights.
Their schedule is one of the easiest in the NFL.
They might win. They might go like 11-0.
They could. They're probably gonna be the first seed.
Josh
this
Allen,
year.
back-to-back MVP.
Don't need that.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm here.
Don't need that.
I'm here. It's my guy.
Starts with
Why
that,
is that your
week
guy?
1 performance.
Fancy
Mr.
football.
Bells.
Oh, fair. Say it again. Sorry.
Starts with that week 1 performance.
Who?
He's
Josh
cooking.
Allen.
Oh,
Damn right.
Yeah.
Lamar could never.
No, Lamar can never. They smoked him in the regular season last
Sorry,
year.
didn't. But what happened in week 1?
Fair.
The better
They
quarterback
did
won.
lose by a lot.
The better quarterback won.
Why is he better?
Everything.
I bet I know why.
Is he the most talented quarterback ever?
Lamar?
No, Josh Allen.
Oh, Lamar is.
Oof, that's a good question,
I
man.
don't know about Josh.
Let me say a thing on that one. I'll let you know by week 9.
Josh
Yeah.
is the better quarterback to me. I think, better case to make
Yeah,
Lamar's the more talented player.
Yeah, Lamar's maybe the best football player. Yeah, no, he's right.
Yeah, thanks,
he's right.
man.
He's
I'm
right.
He's
still-
number one in
I'm still
passer
saying
rating,
Allen's
number
better
one
QB
in
overall.
All
all
time.
quarterback
Over
rushing
Aaron
yards.
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers playing washed.
Sucks.
We'll see.
They
Everyone
said,
plays
I
washed
mean, when
eventually.
Lamar came into the league, at least they thought Rodgers was going to be a quarterback. They thought Lamar should switch
Nobody
positions,
really
you know what I mean?
retires at the peak of their powers.
Lamar
these-
Jackson is definitely going to probably finish top 10, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's not number 1 when he retires. Just the
Passer rating?
the back end of his
Yeah,
career.
it would be
That's
tough.
probably it.
It'd be
The
tough.
back end of most players' careers, they just fall off
If
drastically.
Steelers weapons step up, Rodgers will get back to that south spot.
Unless you're Drew Brees. Drew Brees, until he was old, kept a
Mm-hmm.
high passer rating with the Saints. So Dolphins, Bills, we're all going the Bills, clean sweep. Don't got to think about that too much. We honestly gave this more time than we needed.
That's my fault.
Jets versus the Buccaneers.
This is another one. We could just.
Who's excited about Tyrod?
I am. You know that.
I'm excited about Tyrod.
I'm here. GW, we need Tyrod. Justin Fields, I don't know what he was doing week 2 with him. Horrendous. Buccaneers will win this game. Very quietly, the Buccaneers have been one of the most impressive teams in football. Very quietly. How clutch they've been in these situations as well as a testament to that offense and Baker Mayfield. He's got balls of steel. The guy in the crunch time, I can just trust him every single time, it seems. The Jets, after last week, that's it.
Yeah.
It's over.
The circle
It
of
was
trust
fun.
they had after 1 week is dead.
It's over. I'm
So
very
predictable.
excited for Tyrod. I genuinely am, and I hope Tyrod starts the rest of the season. Give me the Buccaneers.
Yeah, when Tyrod has been healthy and played, he's been pretty good. You know what I mean? This Tyrod starting makes this game actually a bit more interesting to me, just because I think down consistency you get with him compared to Justin Fields could be a dramatic at sometimes, right? We know Fields, like we saw in week 1, looked amazing. Looked like, oh, this could be a franchise quarterback. And then in week 2, it was like, holy shit, we had less than 30 passing yards when we're going into the fourth quarter. So with Tyrod, that just feels like it's going to stabilize. And we saw a couple years back when he played with the Giants, he was towards the top of the league. I think he might have been number 1 in big time throw percentage while having a very low turnover worthy play rate. So he's able to take deep shots, but he's usually careful with the ball. So I'm excited to see what he can do with Garrett Wilson, of course, being a top receiving option. But overall, the Bucks, to Drew's credit, to what Drew said, I should say, they've looked impressive through 2 weeks, right? We all picked Houston in week 2, a road win, Baker coming back and winning that game. So they should be able to handle the Jets at home.
Hey, let's not suck Mr. Baker Mayfield in week 2 in this Buccaneer team. What's impressed me most is their defense. I think week 1, slowing down the Falcons' rushing attack. Then last week, or this most recent week, Nick Chubb didn't have a great rushing performance. And I think for the Jets, your biggest question is what the run game is going to be, especially now that Fields is out of the equation, because it was Jekyll and Hyde. Week 1 versus Steelers, run game looked fantastic. Week 2, you could not run the football at all. So I think that's what's going to determine whether or not it's a close game. I got Tampa back.
I'm interested to see what the Jets OC can do with a quarterback that can throw the ball consistently. That's going to be something
what's
to
wrong
look
with
out
that?
It
for.
just seemed like a shot.
But it is because it's a shot that's valid.
At first he said consistently. At first he said throw the ball, and that felt a little rude. But then
then he-
consistently,
exactly,
that's
cleaned
valid.
it up.
Sorry,
Facts.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Because
My
I
bad.
think the Jets offense maybe can surprise us a little bit like they surprised us in week 1. The Buccaneers are wearing the cream school uniforms. That's number 1.
GG.
Check. They're going to be on their time. They're going to be on swag. They're going to look really nice. That's number 1. They're also just a far better team. I think the Jets have a big vulnerability at their corner spot outside of Sauce Gardner. I think that defensive line really has not been the unit that I thought it was going to be. They got really pushed around against the Bills. But the Buccaneers are missing 2 offensive linemen, Trishan Wirfs, and now their starting right tackle, who just got an extension. He's one of the better right tackles in the league. So if there's a weak spot for Tampa Bay right now, it's how much pressure they allow. Because in the first 2 weeks, they've allowed a lot of pressure. Baker Mayfield has just overcome that, and he's played really well. We saw the 4th down scramble that he had. I mean, the right tackle gets beat completely, and then Baker makes something out of nothing. So if the Jets can maybe keep it close, then I can see like a kind of a trap game feel to this one. This has one of the trap game feels just because the Jets OC, I think, knows what he's doing. So if they keep it close and maybe have one final possession, we'll see how they look at the end. But I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and quietly their pass rush has looked a lot better, but they lost Kalaji Kansey. I think the one thing the Buccaneers right now are going through more than any team is just the amount of injuries they have piling up to key important positions. Next game up, the Packers versus Browns.
This is another easy one.
This is my splash lock of the week. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have struggled to run the ball efficiently. However, they've stood with the run. Josh Jacobs last week had 23 carries, albeit not the most efficient. They stuck with it. They understand that's going to be their bread and butter. But what has been different is we're seeing a more consistent Jordan Love so far to start this season. We're going to talk fantasy football a little bit, so we'll talk a little bit more about this game later. However, Packers, lock of the week.
Yeah, I mean, Packers should dominate. I do think this feels a little uglier than what people anticipate. The Browns have been one of the best defenses in football in terms of stopping the run. So Josh Jacobs has been he's been inefficient, of course, but now he's going up against what's really been the best rushing defense in the NFL. So that's going to be even tougher for them. So I do think this is going to be a game where maybe I shouldn't say surprisingly, but a game that might be a bit closer just because I think the Browns could keep this offense somewhat in check.
Yeah.
Being on the road, I was thinking about them lock of the week, and they should definitely win. I stayed away from it just because, I don't know, got a weird vibe from this game. I'm taking the Packers. I think they're going to win the game.
What weird vibe do you have?
I just think it's going to be like, instead of the Packers winning by like 2 touchdowns, it's going to be like a 6-point game.
My lock of the week was the Rams last week, and it got dicey, so...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a real reason because I know that the Browns can't do anything on offense. Quinshon Judkins looked fantastic in week 1. I will say that. Awesome. But their passing offense with Joe Flacco, man, they just can't really create explosive plays. And you can't do anything against the Packers defense. So if you're going to have to dink and dunk your way through, good luck.
Yeah, I can definitely see this Browns defense having a bounce back after the Ravens offense had a great game last week. And like you highlighted, I think this Browns defense can do a good enough job kind of holding Josh Jacobs in check, whereas the last 2 weeks he wasn't as efficient as he was last season. For that reason, I'm of course going Green Bay, but I could see this, like Dell's said, being like a 7 to 10 point game. I don't expect this to be a blowout. The
thing with the Browns defense is that they're just always at a disadvantage. They're always playing with shorter fields because their offense can't consistently get a set of new downs. I think the Packers are going to dominate. I think this is going to be their first major blowout of the year. And I think this is going to be a big-time game for Dontavian Wicks.
You like that pickup in Dynasty? I saw you put some money on him.
I did, yeah.
Who did you pick up?
I picked up Dontavian Wicks, yeah. I put like $20 on him. I'm like, hey, I like what I saw in week 2.
In one of our other leagues, Caleb Johnson got dropped, right? He was the 2-2 in our rookie draft, right? Mm-hmm. Second round, second pick. I'm like, you know what? I think dropping him in Dynasty, a little overreactionary. Put $53 on him. No one bid another dollar. I was the only person that bid on Caleb Johnson. I'm like,
how much was the FAAB?
You get $100. Okay. I bid 53. Like it's for Dynasty, so it's not like the waivers
Dynasty
aren't
you can pay. But in our league, that waiver is a little bit more juicy than others.
It's definitely more interesting. It's definitely more interesting because there's less bench spots. But I was shocked that no one put another dollar on him.
I kind of feel like there has to be a limit on how many bench spots you can have in fantasy or Dynasty in general.
That's why in our first Dynasty that we've ever done, there's a ton of bench spots. If you told me there was 20, I'd believe you.
Nobody's on the waiver wire.
In our new league that we did, it's like we took the best from that Dynasty. We took the best from my original Hack and Sack league with my brother's friends, and we made like the best of the best. In that one, we've kept it very finite. I think it's 10, and we haven't changed it, and we won't change it. There's no taxi squad. You can't put the rookies on there. So after a rookie draft, you have to make the tough decision. I had to cut Darnell Mooney prior to this season starting. I didn't want to, but like it was either take the idea of Pat Bryant and see what that goes, or go with the route of Darnell Mooney because you know he's going to be a little bit more reliable immediately this year.
Yeah, that's much better.
And you know he's going to get picked up too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst. Like, you know someone's picking him up right away.
Yeah, that's much better. I think that's much better because when it's too much, it's just nobody's on a waiver wire. It really defeats one purpose of fantasy.
I was very stern about it too because he was trying to get me to put a taxi squad.
My thing with Dynasty is I feel like you should be able to keep under the radar players that you just believe in. That you're like, I think this guy's going to be good one day. It might not be now, maybe next year. Like, I have faith. A guy like Nico Collins, Trey McBride too, that Chuck had stuck with forever. he could have easily cut them after the first year when they did nothing. So that's why I feel like having the deeper benches, that's where it benefits you. If you have eyes on guys that you want to give a little time
It's
to.
true. It's true. This dynasty is definitely cutthroat.
It is, very.
Next
I had to cut Trey
game.
Benson. That hurt me.
Yeah,
That hurt
I
me.
get it.
That
You're
hurt
not
me.
doing anything.
I'm not a huge fan of Trey
No,
Benson,
me either, but it
no.
hurt. It hurt.
It's like, damn it, man.
That's how I feel about Ray Davis. I'm sticking it out with Ray Davis.
Yeah.
God forbid.
He's good. He's good.
Next game, the Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans.
This
Wait,
is
did we skip a game?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't think
I thought we did it. I thought there was a game before we talked about Dynasty. No.
So Packers Browns. We
Okay,
did that one.
okay.
This one's sneaky just because it's a division game and the Tennessee Titans are at home. I also didn't absolutely hate the way they looked against the Rams to start the game, and then the Rams they went away with the game. They were making me nervous for my pick of the week. However, the Colts, I don't think that this is a fluke. I think that they are an above average team, and they're being ran by a quarterback that knows how to run a system. On top of the fact that Jonathan Taylor just looks in form. When Jonathan Taylor's playing like this, he has a seat at the table for the best in the league or one of the best in the league. That's already written. But we saw 2021 Jonathan Taylor lead the league in yards, and that was after a slow start to the season as well. When he gets and hits the ground running like this, he's dominant. And with the way that he's been running, especially against a great defense in the Denver Broncos, I really trust that they should continue to carry his performance over. Even though I give credit to the Titans, they played really well against my Broncos, although they didn't stop the run too well against us. JK and RJ in their limited opportunity really were effective on the ground. I can see a similar story for Jonathan Taylor. But I just think that they're just building off something right now, and they were great against Miami. Obviously, they clutched up in a huge win against my Broncos. I think going up against the Titans, this one is sneaky that I could see upset potential on, but I'm going with the Colts. I think the Colts start to give a start to the season 3-0.
This is a trap game.
Yeah,
if I seen
I
one.
get it.
The red hot Colts against the Titans, who didn't look bad against the Broncos, didn't look bad against the Rams. We're talking about two playoff teams last year. One that's going to be a playoff team this year. The Titans looked really good against them, and Cam Ward is getting better every single week. That defense is quietly really good.
It is.
It's just their offense last year sabotaged them, and this year they're doing their job. They're holding good offenses in check. My gripe is, number one, with how consistent they could be on a down-to-down basis, because Tennessee hasn't shown an ability to run the football, and the receivers are inconsistent. And also Cam Ward, his play is very up and down right now. I've also haven't been a big fan of the play calling, but they are going up against top defenses. So that's where I can give it some leeway. And the Colts defense, if Ward isn't playing, that is really bad. I mean, Xavier Howard starting at corner, and he's just awful right now. He can't guard anybody. That's something that offenses just pick apart at all the time, because he can't cover anybody anymore. So the Colts don't have a good defense themselves. I could see this being a high scoring game that the Colts narrowly win out, but I think this has a lot of upset potential on it.
So who are you taking?
I'm taking the Colts.
It sounds like you want to take the Titans.
You're taking the Colts.
Maybe I'm taking the Titans.
Take them.
If you're all going with the Colts, I'm taking Tennessee in this game.
I like that, Johnny.
Nice.
I
Johnny
really,
boy.
I have the Colts right now, but this to me feels like the biggest
I get it.
toss-up of the week, because like you highlighted, Joel, I've really been impressed with the play of Cam Ward and the way he's gotten Alec Edelman going. I think this offense can open up. Traveris Ward has been on full participant in practice with a concussion, and even if he does or he doesn't play, I just have optimism that this Titan offense can put up points today, or this week, I should say. And on the Colts side of things, I wouldn't say it's the Saints of last year. I wouldn't say that this is a fluke the way they got off to this 2-0 start. I think it's sustainable. I think the coaching is quality. They haven't had too many injuries. And then most importantly, Daniel Jones is giving them a floor. But I get this being a 34-31 game. And if you're all going with the Colts here, I'm going Tennessee.
It's
just my pick.
Tennessee right now, their DC Denard Wilson is doing some really funky stuff on that secondary. The Broncos play a lot of man-to-man coverage, and Shane Steichen was kind of picking that apart, because it's just about matchup hunting and also maybe setting a pick play here, getting a guy open, misdirection with the run game. Tennessee, they play a lot of zone, and they had an interception on Matthew Stafford that was really impressive. It was Cody Barton. He lined up on a line of scrimmage, and then once the ball was snapped, he dropped all the way into the hook in the corner, and he made a big interception. And that was something that Stafford just did not know was coming because he's covering like 20 to 30 yards of field and making that play. So Tennessee does a lot of funky stuff. If they can get the Colts offense off script and have Daniel Jones play a porous game, I think that's the major key to beating them.
Why don't you take him?
Yeah, facts.
Who are you taking, Dos?
Oh, I'm taking the Colts.
Okay.
But I
made my decision then.
No, that's fine. But I'm just saying, it seems like you have all of this, you're building all of this hype into the Titans. You're buying into what they've done the first 2 weeks. And then you're saying, but whatever, I'll take the Colts.
I'm just giving the audience analysis and what to look for against.
I respect that. I respect that. I'm not trying to, say you're not doing a great job.
There's some games each week that I will put my heart on the line for, even if it doesn't align with your pick.
It's kind of crazy because if you go band for band with him, he takes your picks every single one, exact same rest of the season. He wins by one.
Yeah, I mean, if he's able to do that for 13 more weeks, credit to you. Credit to you. I'm not gonna lie.
I said there's certain games that even if you go the opposite side,
you don't even care about coming in first. It's just I'm not gonna win because River, Drew, or John could go above you.
I think if I'm up on you, I like my chances.
You're taking.
If somebody else goes up on me, then maybe I have to pivot. Yeah. And it also means you're really wrong. So if you're wrong, I have to reevaluate. But no, there are some games I will still pick the team that I want to pick. But this is not one of those games because this is a little bit too crazy. I see the vision, but this is a little bit too out there that I'm not going to waste one of my upset picks on this game. Although I feel a little strongly about it, but I don't feel very strongly about it.
I think the Colts, the first couple of weeks were falling in love with Daniel Jones. I definitely think he comes back down to earth this week. I don't think he goes out there and has what's he got, like 5 touchdowns through 2 weeks rushing and passing so far. He's been a stud. I think that comes back down. But the one thing I haven't loved with Cam Ward, just talk about the other quarterback for a second, the amount of sacks he's taken, of course, not all his fault. 6 sacks week 1 against Denver, 5 sacks week 2 against the Rams. Those are 2 of the better, front sevens, pass rushing teams in the NFL. So, of course, going up against some great competition. But that's just the one thing with Cam Ward is sometimes it doesn't process as quick as I want it to. I think some of that has to just do with the pressure that he's been seeing these first couple of weeks. But I think overall, you're feeling good from what you're seeing, right? The numbers, the box score wise, he's had a game under 50% completion, under 200 yards. So the numbers don't really paint a great picture. But I think after 2 weeks, you're feeling decent about it, to the point where you could see them beating a Colts team that has looked strong through 2 weeks, even though it's been, they've done it in different ways. That being said, though, I'm taking the Colts here. I see the world the Titans do it. That's why I was surprised you didn't take them. But I think the Colts, way Jonathan Taylor's been playing, will get it done.
I'm surprised you're not taking them. Where you talking?
No, I don't.
Honestly, you guys are talking a lot about DJ and Cam Ward. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be the best player on the field.
Yeah.
They always torch the Titans.
He does, genuinely.
Yeah. They just have a lot of good players. I think even the receivers, it's one of the best groups in the league. They have a lot of dudes there.
They do have depth.
Bengals versus the Vikings.
This one's tough for me, honestly. This was probably the hardest game for me to take. I'm going to go with the Vikings, though. I don't love the Carson Wentz spot start. It's something that obviously is not ideal. I would have liked to see JJ in this situation going up against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I think that this offense could have had a good get back game. I think in the fourth quarter versus the Bears, they were good. But outside of that, like we've spoken about, the offense really has been dry. I really am excited for Jordan Mason in this situation. I say that. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. Jordan Mason going up against the Cincinnati Bengals rush defense. I think he's going to have a great game, especially understanding no Aaron Jones, unfortunately, because of the hamstring injury. And Ty Chandler is on the IR to start this season. I think that Jordan Mason leads his print on this game. I don't think that Minnesota... You're nuts. I don't think that the Bengals are going to struggle overly with putting points on the board, but I do think that Jake Browning makes a mistake or two that could cost them, and Minnesota being home, I'm going to give them the advantage in this one. I just think that they can run clock. Carson Wentz can do a job with Jettis and Hawkinson, but I think that they're going to rely on that run game. Jordan Mason is going to be crucial for them to win this game. I'm going to go with Minnesota, but again, this is probably the most difficult one to choose.
Yeah, I'm taking Minnesota in this matchup too. I think what you saw in week 2 was a defense that was trying to do all that it could, but its offense wasn't helping them out. I mean, what we saw from the Vikings and JJ McCarthy in that game was they were not able to sustain drives. So when the Vikings defense is constantly out there, Bijan was being Bijan, and he looked like one of the best players in football, which is what he is. But I do think the Bengals offense, I don't think it's entirely screwed, right? Like, obviously you take a step down from Joe Burrow, but Jake Browning's like a very serviceable backup. When he came in 2 years ago in 2023, he had a stretch, one game against Jacksonville, but 350 yards and a touchdown. Against Indy, 275-2. Minnesota, 324-2. Pittsburgh, 335-1. Has some games in there under 200 yards as well, so it's not all pretty, but he's shown the ability to sustain this offense because you do have T and you have Jamar and now Chase Brown, who's an integral part. Of course, it's not what it should be. It's not with Joe Burrow, and it could be the best offense in football, but I still think they have enough there to at least consistently move the ball down the field. It's the opposite side that I worry about. It's the defense, right? We know this defense is not going to be good. It hasn't been great, and Drew, actually, we can talk about, like you mentioned, the starts of the week. He was going to be my start of the week before I saw. Spoiler, Drew put him in there. Because I think Jordan Mason, when he was fresh last year, because he started to fall off kind of towards his, like 6-7 start or so. But when he was fresh last year, he was one of the best running backs in football. Like when he was that bell cow the first few weeks there, he was that dude, like looking like one of the best running backs in football, super efficient. It's not going to be that level because you don't have, I think, the same infrastructure there, especially when we talk about quarterback. But he's going to show that I'm the RB1 in the system. Like, I know Aaron Jones has been here, but I'm the better runner. I should be featured like this because I think when he gets going downhill, he could be a special runner. The passing offense for Minnesota is when I start to get worried, though, just because Carson Wentz first start, it's been a minute. You have Jettas out there, of course, but I don't trust so far what I've seen from it. Sam Darnold, I know was great last year. You've had Case Keenum, all of the quarterbacks we've talked about in the past. But JJ, man, it looked rough. And Carson Wentz, I'm not expecting him to have a Mullins game, even though it's a sketchy defense. So I think it's going to be more on the back of Minnesota's defense and Jordan Mason. But I got them taking the game.
I've also got Minnesota in this game. And it comes down to have more faith and optimism in their coaching staff because I do believe that Jake Brown's pretty competent backup. I feel like in the second half of this game, we're going to see him put the ball in harm's way, 1 or 2 mistakes. Did 3 times last week versus the Jaguars. And then kind of build on top of that, I think this Viking defense can kind of disguise a lot of looks and make him uncomfortable maybe early on in this game. And then the last thought that I have is just what I have no idea what to expect from Carson Wentz. He started 2 games since 2022. And
last
the
game he started, do you remember?
It was with the Chiefs last year, week 18.
Belt.
Versus the Broncos. Yeah, that's one of their 2 losses last year. I just look at it. Carson Wentz can be really serviceable or it can be a total train wreck in this game. And I really don't know what we're going to get because this floor in the past, we've seen it can be pretty low. So I think that's the one thing with Minnesota, of course, you'll lose your starter where it's going to give you some cause for concern.
Operationally, there's some things wrong with the Minnesota Vikings right now. The offensive line hasn't been really able to handle stunts. And I think it showed last year, Sam Darnold, his final games of the year, where the offensive line fell apart. I think KOC's play calling has gotten a little stale. JJ McCarthy had some bad moments. There's no doubt about it. I also thought that the offensive line was so disastrous, allowing quick pressure so often that JJ oftentimes was not even able to read the field at all. So I think that they need to get that fixed if they want to have a competent offense this year like they did last year with Sam Darnold. I think they have just enough of a good enough defense and run game to propel them to victory. But I don't know how on God's green earth we've gotten to the point where we trust Jake Browning more than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz.
No, I trust Jake Browning more than Carson Wentz right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
I'm going Carson Wentz.
No, I don't see that.
I'm going with the guy who's shown me he could be an MVP candidate. I'm going with the guy who's shown me at Indy he could at least lead a team to maybe a playoff hunt.
I was going to say, we're talking about what felt like a decade ago.
It's almost
he wasn't
Jake Browning,
horrible at the Colts,
2023. That's 2 years ago. He was
There's
fine.
no
He
way
did, but he wasn't terrible.
if I'm
He was
taking
very
a
fine.
backup
Very
quarterback, there's
solid.
no way I'm going Jake Brown over Carson Wentz. No way. I'm going Carson.
Jake Browning almost did it for the Bengals a couple seasons
They
ago.
were 4-3
We're
with them
judging
playing,
Carson
but-
Wentz off of being a starter. If Jake Browning was a starter, we'd be calling for him out of there.
Carson Wentz wasn't
He
a
was
bad
the
starter
starter
in 2021. That was 4 years ago.
Who's looking at Carson Wentz as a starter?
I'm
No,
saying,
it's-
Dude, Jake Browning was actually a starter.
I'm saying
He was a starter.
We judge Carson Wentz off of what he was as a starter, but as a backup, he's going to be one of the better backups.
Jake Browning literally had to start because Joe Burrow got hurt and he had a winning record.
Yeah.
I'm going with Carson Wentz, man. Carson Wentz is going to win this quarterback battle.
We're all taking the Vikings.
I am.
But you're taking Jake Browning, though. I'll play Carson Wentz.
Yes.
Are you taking Jake Browning over Carson Wentz?
I mean, he has better numbers.
I'm taking Carson Wentz over him.
Outplays him? I don't know. I think Jake Browning has better numbers because he's going to have to. He's going to have to.
I'm banking on Wentz, baby.
I'm not putting money on either of these two quarterbacks. One last thing. Christian Darrisaw practiced full on Wednesday. Did not practice today. But hasn't played yet this year. That's going to be a big thing. If he comes back, it could be a big deal.
It could be a veteran rest. I feel like full DMP is usually not great. But
they were expecting him to come back week 1. Yeah. And people thought it was just a Chicago field why he didn't come back. But now he's still not coming back. So who knows? Maybe it was the injury was worse, or they're just taking their time with the recovery, which is fair. It's very early in the season. Yeah. I think this is the game, though. I mean, you have school on Trey Hendrickson. That's a major mismatch. I mean, they're going to have to help him a lot. And, man, it wasn't even school last week for J.J. McCarthy. He had him in the first half. In the second half, the third-string left tackle came in and played. Like, right now, their offensive line is very makeshift. So that is a potential swing in the game. Texans versus Jaguars.
Splash has Texans as the underdog in this game.
Deservedly so. The Jaguars are the better team. They're going to win this game.
I got
Houston. Simple as that.
I got Houston.
It's as simple as that.
Your move.
I'm moved by Jacksonville on both sides of the ball. I'm moved by their offensive operation, which I think even with Trevor Lawrence playing not to the standards that I expect of him, they've still been good. And you have Jaguars fans saying he was this and that away from 5 touchdowns and 400 yards and stuff. Okay, it goes to show you how much better if not only him, but the supporting cast is around him, how good this offense is going to be. The Jaguars have something offensively that I trust. And I know you can point to the Texans defense and be like, I trust the defense. In this league, offense is more important than defense. If you could put up points consistently, that's more important, and they can run the ball. And the Texans have shown to be a bit vulnerable against the run because they don't got those big guys up in the middle. They have fantastic edge rushers, but that defensive line is a little bit narrow. And I don't like the Texans on offense at all. I don't like it at all. I don't like what I see. I don't like their offensive line. I don't like how inaccurate and rattled C.J. Stroud looks. I don't like the receivers out there outside of Nico Collins. The Texans are just a team this year that I'm out on. I don't want nothing to do with them. I think that they look terrible, and they need to help C.J. Stroud. Jacksonville, they're going to win this game.
They look terrible. The issue is the Jaguars have found a way to look terrible against bad competition. Against the Panthers, underwhelmed. Against the Bengals, they absolutely gagged that game away. The fact they're not sitting on 2-0 is more shocking than being 1-1. But at the same time, I think what's most shocking to me is that we haven't seen them look dominant against two underwhelming defenses. Your run game has been, and that's what excites me. I was very excited for this run game coming in. I really believed in Liam Cohen coming in and immediately instilling his run game to be effective again. And that's been at the focal point. That's been at the forefront, I should say, for the Jaguars. It's just been a matter of this pass offense catching up. And there were moments of Trevor Lawrence looking good against Cincinnati, and then there were also moments that he didn't look great, and the inaccuracies did cost them a game. Also, BTJ being a little bit afraid of getting hit. It's football. You got to be ready for things like that. However, in this matchup versus Houston, going up against the Buccaneers, they needed to score a touchdown. They did, and that shocked us because, again, offense has been really difficult for them. But what blew it for them was that defense and that last drive. But that second half, they really shut down the Buccaneers. They did a great job of limiting Bake after 2 drives back-to-back to start the game of a touchdown. They allowed nothing after that until the very last drive of the game, where Baker just had some theatrical moments, and he really helped seal that win for them on top of Rachaad White really having a great drive that game too. A great drive to end that game, I should say. But I'm going with the Texans. They're not starting this season 0-3. Their defense going up against the Jaguars, I definitely feel more confident about their defense than I feel about Jacksonville's offense. That's for damn sure.
Hell no.
That's for damn sure.
The Texans, they're sorry this year.
Their defense is not
their
sorry.
Offense.
Their offense,
the Dolphins and the Bengals.
Their offense is so putrid. The Jaguars, I know their offense is going to be a top 10 offense this year. Let me just make that clear.
What has allowed you to say that?
After playing
because
two
on
of the
how
5 worst defense in football.
And no, that's allowed me to say that because of Liam Cohen.
That's exactly my point.
Liam Cohen has completely turned around their rushing
attack
through 2 weeks.
100%.
Tampa Bay last year coming into the season, they were one of the worst rushing attacks in the league. Liam Cohen changed that completely.
But Baker wasn't
and
bad
through 2
the year
weeks, the
before that.
Jaguars have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Walker Little's been a fantastic left tackle. Robert Hansey has been somebody at center that you feel really good about. And Anton Harrison at right tackle.
The Panthers D-line and the Bengals D-line.
Yeah, and they've been the top 3 unit. I know they've looked dominant against those matchups.
Yeah, I'm glad.
This week is going to be a test against the Texans. There's
For
no doubt
sure.
about it.
Night and
But
day.
the Jaguars offense, I do trust just as much as the Texans defense, and I trust the Jaguars defense more than I trust the
Do you
Texans
understand
offense.
what you're saying? You're saying that you trust the Jaguars offense as much as the Texans defense.
Yes.
The Texans defense is in conversation for maybe top 5 in the league.
Yeah,
maybe near
Wow.
top,
Possibly
maybe
top
best.
5. Yeah, maybe. They
So
could
we're
be.
saying the Jaguars are that
The
offensively.
Jaguars are going to put up points. They're going to put up points. They're not going to shut down. They're not going to shut down. They're going to put up points
The
against
Texans
Houston.
kind of
They're
shut
putting up
down
more
the
than 20
Rams.
points.
Yeah, they're putting up points.
The Texans kind of shut down the Rams.
The
No, they did.
Jaguars can put up
They
points.
shut down the Rams,
And
for
your
sure.
comment about Baker Mayfield and he was good before
He
Liam Cohen.
was.
Trevor Lawrence has been good before Liam Cohen too. Trevor Lawrence
How
is not
many
a
years
scrub.
ago?
What do you mean? Trevor Lawrence is not a
years
scrub. He
ago.
wasn't bad last year.
You also said he wasn't a franchise quarterback.
been
He's not a
injured.
franchise quarterback, but he's good. He's not
He's
bad.
good.
He's not a
He's
scrub.
good.
You just talking like
You're
about
average.
Trevor Lawrence saying he's a scrub.
He's not
He's not
Baker.
a scrub.
He's not better than Baker, and that's sad.
Okay, I think how is that
Baker Saints
sad?
are a good
But you want to
quarterback,
know
be
why
fair.
it's sad? Because obviously we understand the trajectories of where they were once at and where one was supposed to go.
Yeah. Well, you can
It's
say that
not
about a lot
sad.
of quarterbacks. Then it's
Baker
sad.
Mayfield was the first overall pick.
Dude's
he was
awesome.
a rookie of the year. Well,
It's
should have been.
awesome.
Well, he was behind Saquon Barkley, but he had a year that was that good.
100%.
It's sad
And
he's not better
Trevor
than Jared
Lawrence was
Goff.
the chosen one, and he's been wildly disappointing up until this point in
I
his
know,
career.
but still, Liam Cohen has come to help Trevor
I'm
Lawrence
excited.
out, and he's a good quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence through 2 weeks, I mean, he's made some good plays. He has to cut down the turnovers. This is the perfect bounce back game for him and for BTJ. It's not like Trevor Lawrence had a bad game, but him and BTJ, that connection has not been there. I think this is the week that we're going to see.
I think I hear what you're saying, Joel, because it wouldn't surprise me if the Jaguars finish the top 10 offense. I think the rushing game is for real. I think Liam Cohen is for real. I still don't think everything is perfect with this offense, far from. And now you're going up against your biggest competition yet, against one of the best defenses in football in division matchup. That's just a lot to try to get right this week. Like, I think eventually over time, this Jags offense will look like we were expecting to. And even still, like, put up 20 points in week 1. They were moving the ball against Cincinnati. The offense, generally speaking, hasn't been an issue. It's really just been the passing attack that's been the most mind-boggling. Trevor Lawrence and BTJ, this goes back to last year. Like, when Trevor Lawrence was starting to begin the season before the injuries, him and Brian Thomas were not on the same page. It was really when Mac Jones came in when Brian Thomas truly broke out. We're like, holy shit, this looks like a superstar. So the BTJ and Trevor connection, this goes back to last year, which makes me think it's not just a couple weeks into the season. This might take a little bit of time for them to develop. And I don't love the way they're utilizing Travis Hunter either. I think on offense, it's been kind of vanilla. A lot of screens, a lot of stuff around the line of scrimmage. He played more defense in week 2 going up against T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So naturally, some of his offensive snaps went down. I just feel like they're in a weird spot with him because I don't generally know if he could play both ways full time. So if you're taking away kind of parts of either where you can't be a full offensive player or full-time defensive player, I feel like that's hard to just kind of count on that player week in and week out. It's not me saying I'm like out on Travis Hunter or anything, but I'm just saying to begin the season, it's probably going to take some time to get this in order.
they need him more on defense right now.
They do need him more on defense for sure. But when I look at Houston, we talk about the defense all the time, and this feels like a spot where they can maybe get a little bit right. Going week 1 against the Rams, week 2 against the Bucs, those are two. The Rams have a great pass rush. The Bucs have had one so far this year too, but they've also been really good at stopping the run. Now you're going up against Jacksonville. This should be your weakest opponent yet. So this could be an opportunity for them, I think, to get on the right track. So I got them winning.
The thing is, though, is that the Texans defense don't need a get right game. A defense that needs a get right game is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need a get right game. The Texans
This isn't
defense
about the defense.
No, the Texans offense needs to get right.
This isn't about the
yes,
defense
their
getting right. It's about
offense-
the team getting right.
The defense is fine. The offense is so disastrous
It's
that I
bad.
do not trust them. And you have good pass rushers on Jacksonville that can get after the quarterback.
I don't disagree with you. I've been very underwhelmed with the Texans offense, but I was assuming this offense was going to be bad, so I'm not shocked by it.
Last year, let me just say, we put the line at 20 points for the Jaguars to score on the Texans. Last year, the Jaguars, in Trevor Lawrence's first full game against the Texans, because he played the second one, but then the Al-Shire incident with him happened that he had to leave, they lost 24-20. These matchups with the Texans have always been close, and I think the Jaguars have upgraded in a major way.
No, the Jags. I'm not sitting here being like you're insane. I'm just saying I don't know if this is the spot where things just click for them.
I expect the Jaguars to be able to run the ball quite well in this game.
I agree.
But what it comes down to is I think this is a bit of a bounce back game for this Texans offense. We've seen Nico Collins last 3 games as the Jaguars has been food over 120 yards per game, and I don't see that changing this week.
Put Travis Hunter on him.
Still don't see that. I expect Nico Collins to have the game that people are expecting Brian Thomas to have that breakout get right week. I think that's going to be Nico Collins in week 3. I can't see that CJ Stroud is in a very brutal situation right now with the infrastructure that this Texans offense has. That being said, I have too much optimism in their defense. I have too much faith in him managing the game. The Texans start 0-3, like you said. It's really, to me, the Jaguars, you look at who they played, Bengals and the Panthers, the first 2 weeks, 2 bottom 5 defenses. Now they're playing arguably top 5 unit. I think that's their ceiling. They can be one of the best defense in football this year. And I think this will be a close game, but I'm very favorably taking the Texans here.
So Texans. Okay, I'm going Texans too because you got the Texans.
Wow.
Now I'm playing. This is one of those games that I feel strongly about.
You should.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I can see it.
Man, this is the Trevor Lawrence breakout guy, the AFC South Jaguars guy.
I don't know how you
to the
can.
Houston Texans guy.
I don't think the Texans starting off 0-3, bro.
Come on.
I don't think they're starting off 0-3.
Why? Their offense has been that bad to start 0-3.
Their defense is fantastic.
I know.
And
the Browns' defense is fantastic. The Texans' offense is just as bad as the Browns' offense right now.
Okay,
Prove me wrong.
I mean, listen, neither offense has been lighting up by any means. I think you have more faith in CJ Stroud and Nico Collins than Joe Flacco and Jerry Jeudy. You just have more faith the offense can do something.
I have more faith in Kevin Stefanski calling them plays. That's what I have faith in. Right now, the Texans' offense just looks... I'm out. Falcons versus the Panthers.
Taking the Falcons.
Yeah.
Not thinking too much about this. The Falcons defense has been really great to start this season. Was excellent against Minnesota. They were excellent against the Buccaneers, all things considered, again, until the last drive. Baker was clutch. He knew how to make a play, and he made an amazing throw to Egbuka to steal their win. But I think the Falcons defense might be legit, man. These rookies have come in and they've really helped set a tone. That defensive line looks really strong. But the offense, they finally got Bijan going in a tremendous way. He dominated on the ground versus Minnesota. I don't expect to see anything different against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers' rush defense is one of the worst in the league. He should go out there and be dominant again. The pass offense, I'm a little bit hesitant on. I didn't think the Cardinals were all too great passing the ball against the Panthers. Same thing with the Jaguars. I didn't think that they were great. And I really think that's because J.C. Horn's taken that leap into being a legitimate superstar at the cornerback position. When he is healthy, he is dominant. Really limited BTJ, really limited Marvin Harrison, going up against Drake London, who has not been what we anticipated early on. He's going to get going inevitably. He's Drake London. I have no doubt in that. But week 1 versus the Bucs was a pretty average game for his standard. And week 2, the script was obvious. Let's get the ball to Bijan Robinson. And Drake was already coming to the game banged up. And going up against J.C. Horn, I don't love the matchup for him personally, but I think Bijan's going to leave his mark on this game. I'm hopeful Bryce Young has a good game. I thought he had a really strong game versus the Cardinals. But the Falcons are playing great ball right now, and I think they go 2-1 to start the year.
Atlanta should win. I mean, they should be up 20, and then in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes left, Bryce Young will start to put up points. They start to score 2 touchdowns. It'll be 20-14 at the end, and then you're like, man, the game was close. But then you're like, oh no, they just scored at the very end when they weren't really playing defense anymore.
As someone who had Cardinals defense in fantasy, I was sick.
They could have beaten the Cardinals.
They could have, but they got an onside kick.
They got a lot of chances to beat them.
Yeah,
they did. I think Atlanta's defense is one of the more interesting storylines in like the early NFL season. That's not like, quarterback or offense driven, because it does change who this team could be as a whole. Because if Atlanta all of a sudden has this like sick pass rush and they have a defense that can shut you down or at least, limit you, then you look on offense, you're like, okay, wait, we have, one of the best running backs in football, top 3 running backs, some say best in the world. The whole team looks different because all of a sudden coming into the year, we're thinking of this as a pass-heavy attack whose defense can let up a lot of points. We saw Michael Penix and Drake London's connection at the end of the year last year, and now it shifts to like, what if this is more of like a run-heavy offense with a defense that can, stop opposing offenses? So it's one of the more interesting things I'm just looking forward to seeing over the next few weeks. But I got Atlanta winning. They're the clear better team than the Panthers. It's going to be hard for the Panthers to find wins. Like, this team it's still a long ways away.
Just wait until they play the Cowboys. It's
It's going to be a good game. I also got Atlanta in this matchup, and it's interesting because, like you highlighted, I don't know entirely what this Falcon defense is moving forward, but it does seem like it's taking a notable step forward in the pass rush department. And I think Bijan's going to have an absolute day, him and Drake London as well. So I think for the Falcons, this is going to be a very meaningful game. This can tell us a lot about them.
Yeah, they're number one E-pay per play defensively right now, the Falcons. Like, they have been, again, when it's
Second
2
in
weeks
points.
and week 2 is JJ McCarthy, who so early, but through 8 quarters, you're like 7, holy shit, this guy can't play. One game can sway a lot.
Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons pretty easily in this game. Now, on to the game of the week. It is the Rams versus Eagles.
Taking the Rams in this one.
Shit, okay.
Yeah,
I'm taking the Rams in this
So
one
am
too.
I. This okay. The Splash Sports 34%. I said, wow. I said that's low.
Well, I think there's a couple things that go into this game. Are we going to see the same Eagles offense that we've seen for the first 2 weeks? I think they were able to get away with it against the Dallas Cowboys because the Cowboys' final drive of the game, they had drops, and also their defense in the first part of the game didn't play well. And then week 2 against the Chiefs, they just really had nobody to worry about offensively to where the defense can propel them to a victory, and they didn't have to do anything offensively. With the Rams, it's different because the Rams have a good defense. They have a good pass rush. They have somebody in Jared Verse who almost single-handedly
game
took over
breaker.
the game in the playoffs.
He's a game breaker.
And then you have an offense that can legitimately put up points, that understands this defense. I think the wild card in this one all is just if Saquon rushes for 200 again, what are you going to do? You know, the Eagles are just going to control the game at that point. But I think they're better equipped to stop the run this year than they were last year. And I don't like what I see from the Philadelphia Eagles offensively.
No.
I think the play calling has been awful. They're seeing a lot more zone defense this year. That is true. Jalen Hurts last year, one of the worst zone coverage quarterbacks in the NFL. He thrives against man coverage, and I think there are 2 parts to their offensive struggles. I think the play calling has been very bland, but also Jalen Hurts is more of a see it, throw it quarterback. He has to see yards of separation in order to throw a football. He's not going to throw it with much anticipation, and he's not going to put the ball in harm's way. And that's how he keeps those turnovers low because he has a defensive first football team, and that's the strength of this defense. So he's playing to the strengths of how they can win football games. But in this one, if the Rams jump out to an early lead, they have to force those passes. They're sitting in zone. At that point, we're going to see Jalen Hurts having to make plays with his arm or legs, either or. And I think definitely week 2 was terrible all around for the offense.
Don't get me wrong. I don't doubt that Jalen Hurts can do the things that you said there. However, I really have not liked the inconsistency of this offense. And I think using the word inconsistency is generous to them. They really
I think
haven't.
there's a stat that says they have more tush pushes than Jalen Hurts has
10 plus.
throws like 10 plus yards.
Plus air yards.
It really has been one of the
pretty funny.
ugliest starts to a great team's season. And I say that because they are 2-0. And they've gone up against 2 respectable teams. I think that we look at the Cowboys now, and I think the conversations are a lot more different than they were in the offseason. The Cowboys are a respectable team. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs, and you still were able to walk away with 2 W's there. Albeit both could have gone either way, you were still able to secure a W. But going up against this Rams team, I think this Rams team's clicking on all cylinders off rip. Going up against the Titans, again, the game was close to start, but then they realized who they were, and they realized who's on their team, and Devontae Adams has been a freak of nature to start this season. He's tied with George Pickens right now for most end zone targets with 5. We understand that that's going to be the part of the field where he thrives in, and Puka Nacua just does everything else. Puka Nacua is one of the best receivers in football, and if you have a conversation about him being overrated still, you need to get with the times. He is already one of the league's best. He can do everything at the wide receiver position. He has one of the more for sure hands in the league. It's just a matter of durability for him. When he's on that field, he's a star. When you look at this offense, Matthew Stafford is locked. Any conversation that you had in the offseason about his back, you're worried about it, he's already put it to bed. He's been one of the best quarterbacks to start this season. He's been dominant. We're talking about Herbert. We're talking about Josh. But one of the underrated or under the radar conversations is that Matthew Stafford has been near flawless to start this season. And you're going up against the Texans and you're going up against the Titans, who Titans maybe not the most pretty name, but we understand they have a really strong defense. You're going up against the Eagles. That's probably going to be your strongest test defensively. But with the way that Eagles offense has been playing, I feel confident that the Rams, who gave them their best game in the playoffs last year, can go into Philadelphia and can steal this game. The fact that it's in Philadelphia, it almost swayed me to go the opposite way because playing in Lincoln Financial is one of the tougher environments. But the Rams have that experience. They know what it's like to play the Eagles and play to the potential to potentially beat them. I just think that you're seeing a better version of the Rams that you saw last year. And that game was a possession away from being different. So give me the Rams in this one. I think it's going to be an amazing game. But I would like the Rams to show that they are one of the cream of the crop teams.
Yeah, I think, of course, the Eagles win the Super Bowl last year. They get such runway going into this season that they could struggle for the first 2 weeks, 8 weeks. They get such a runway that even though we bring up these concerns, it's still nothing that I can really think of long-term just yet. The passing offense has been so bad. There's only one way it can go. This team, like A.J. Brown's on pace for 300 yards right now. A.J. Brown's not going to have 300 yards. I
don't know, man.
Jalen Hurts hasn't passed for more than 2. That's not, these things just aren't going to continue. Eventually, this passing offense is going to get better. It was never going to be the bread and butter of this team, right? We know this is a defensive first. We're going to run the ball with Saquon Barkley type of team. That's how they're going to be winning a lot of their games. But the other part to that is the explosives they can create, especially with a guy like A.J. Brown and Smitty. That's the part that's really lacking. It's probably the least important out of the three because the defense is elite and Saquon still got it. But it's the part of that team that makes them, holy shit, they're unstoppable, right? When all three of those things are clicking at the same time. But I think what you're talking about the Rams right now is right. This is a team that the last couple of years gets off to slower starts, especially, talk about last year. Of course, you had some injuries, but you start off slow and then they get hot towards the end of the season. But this year, even though, like you mentioned, it's been ugly wins, shit, man, you're 2-0. You won a road game. You won a home game against one of the best defenses in football. And now going into Philly, again, the defense is great. It's Philly. It's defending champs. You look so much better. They look so much better than Philly right now. That
Rams look like they could do the whole. They could do the whole thing again, dude.
The Philly's 2-0. I get all of that, but man, the Rams right now, their passing offense, just their offense in general, they're playing a different sport right now than Philly. Like they can actually create explosive plays that, unless it's Saquon, the Eagles just can't do right now. So I got the Rams winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they won by like a touchdown too. I don't know if Philly's really going to be like, within, I'm not going to say striking distance. I think the Rams win this game.
Well, listen, I think that the Eagles need to lose this game, I think, for their own sake. They need a loss to just humble themselves a bit so they can go back and change some things offensively. They need to get kicked in the ass a little bit because since they're winning, the coaching staff is probably cruising and saying it's fine, although it looks this ugly.
The way they were 2 years ago.
They need one of these games to lose and say, okay, we got to fix some things against a better opponent because this is the team that we're going to be facing ultimately. Jalen Carter also has like conditioning issues. He had a rep against the Chiefs where he didn't try at all. He was just gassed. Vic Fangio challenged him to be more conditioned. So we're not even getting the best version of Jalen Carter either. So I think there's some things on this Eagles team that they have to get right. I don't think they're the Super Bowl champs that we saw back in February.
I mean, there's just a feeling that the Eagles have won 18 of their last 19 games, so they're going to lose any game. It's going to be this one. As you guys have highlighted, their offense looks a lot different now that Kellen Moore is left. To me, I want the Eagles in this matchup because I expect Saquon Barkley to have a fantastic game and A.J. Brown to have a big bounce back week against this Rams secondary. On top of that, for as good as this Rams offense has looked, I think with Jalen Carter back, he came back last week, they're going to be able to control the run, and the Rams are going to have to win through the year. And I look at this matchup, and I could see it being a one-score game. I think it can easily be the game of the week. I'm going with Philadelphia because I do have some optimism that they're going to make some necessary adjustments on the coaching side of things. But if they don't, the Rams will easily win this game. I think, like you highlighted, the Eagles need to kind of regroup and recognize this passing game is way too archaic, and it feels a lot like it did 2 years ago when they started off 9-0 and they don't make a whole lot of changes, and their offense and their defense end up colliding. But this year, I think their defense is too good for that.
Raiders versus the Commanders.
Taking the Commanders in this one. Raiders were extremely underwhelming last week versus the Chargers.
One of the best teams in the league.
Chargers look great. Not gonna shy away from that. They look really great. However, the Raiders looked underwhelming. Geno looked terrible. Maybe the most overrated quarterback in football now. Maybe you have to wear that on your sleeve. That kind of stings.
Nah, it's because it's not true.
However,
It's a terrible game.
It was bad.
He's terrible, and when he gets to the red zone, his heart starts beating out of his chest, and he just makes erratic decisions. The rush game also has been shockingly bad. I can't say too shockingly because, again, we've known this offensive line's not the greatest. That's also, it's like Geno is back in Seattle where he does have a bad offensive line, except maybe you can have the argument that his weapons aren't as good as they were in Seattle. It's a conversation, at least, I can hear. Regardless, this team for the Raiders going up against the Commanders need to get right game. Now, the concern genuinely becomes, is Jaden playing? If Jaden doesn't play...
Probably isn't.
You don't think so?
He's out. He was out today for practice.
I don't know if he's playing.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota is probably going to start this game.
This is the game where I'm like, if Jaden's out, I'm taking the Raiders. If Jaden plays,
and that's why shout out to Splash, shout out to our conditions that we can change our pick on the app, and the app is what's final. Whatever the app says is, then they'll be. However, I still feel confident that Washington can get this job done.
Either or.
Yeah, I don't really like what I saw from the Raiders whatsoever against the Chargers. I get it, but Geno was genuinely terrible, and going and running the ball against the Commanders is not going to be easy either, which means you have to be on your P's and Q's passing the ball. But if they're just going to send blitz at Geno, which is what they should do because that offensive line is so poor, then things become a little bit erratic. I think Mariota can do a job. He can do enough to win an ugly game at home. So give me the Commanders. I think they win this game.
So I think there's two things to the Geno thing. I think number one, he had his worst game of his career since he's become a starter. I'm not counting the Jets days. I'm counting as recently 2020, post 2020. He was so terrible because his accuracy was very off in the Chargers game. The first interception I thought was really just a great play by Alohi Gilman. He really came from like the deep half all the way to that flat and intercepted the ball. It was so quick. I was kind of amazed by the play itself, but Geno throughout the game was just very inaccurate, and I thought he was trying to be too aggressive. But one thing about Geno is I know historically from all the numbers, he's not an inaccurate quarterback.
No.
He's an accurate quarterback. So I think this just was an off game and a bad moment in prime time. I don't think Jaden's going to play. I have the Raiders bouncing back, and I think they're going to win this game. I think Geno's going to have a bounce back performance and have a really good outing. And I think their weapons are fine. Jacoby Myers has been a pleasant surprise.
He's been great.
And Brock Bowers is dealing with an injury right now that's kind of limiting him. But I think this is going to be one of Ashton Gentry's best games. He's one of those
play away.
Watch the game versus the box score.
100% agree.
Because he is breaking tackles. He is making defenders miss. He just doesn't have much separation to do much of anything.
100%.
It's kind of like the Kenneth Walker situation in Seattle.
Yep.
Ashton Gentry looks really good. And I think that this is going to be the game where he puts it together and the Raiders can block just well enough against a subpar Commanders defensive line. And I think the Raiders win this on the road.
If the Packers look better on the ground than they did against the Commanders, I'd be with you. I think that Ashton Gentry, they're waiting. It's inevitable at this point. He's going to pop. But they did a great job against the Giants. They did a really strong job against the Packers. The difference was Jordan Love just airing it out and making plays. I think something similar can happen with the Raiders. Don't get me wrong, but you send pressure after Geno. The way that he looked against the Chargers, I just think that they can do enough.
Yeah, I think you have to be impressed, too, with how the Raiders' defense looked the first 2 weeks.
Fair enough.
They're looking good.
Yeah, this is a unit that coming in, we did not have a lot of high hopes for.
True.
Of course, you have a different coaching staff, but week 1 against New England just put up 30-plus points against Miami, who might be the worst defense, to be fair, but they showed that they were more than competent to move the ball down the field. They were able to, shut down, for the most part, in week 2, the Chargers. Like, the Chargers scored 20 points, and Geno turned the ball over damn near every time he touched the ball, it felt like. So they were constantly put in bad positions, but they're able to hold them to field goals, hold them out of the end zone. So the Raiders' defense the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of the season, has been, a bright spot for them. And I'm with you, Joel. I don't think Geno has this type of game again. Like, that really felt like the worst game I've seen from him since he took over in Seattle. It looked like a Geno it was a Jet Geno, that's for sure. But the Commanders, of course, having Jaden Daniels or not is going to factor heavy. If he ends up playing, I might go switch my pick in Splash Sports. But with him being out, or at a minimum, it feels like he's going to be limited if he plays. Like it's the knee he's dealing with, right?
He took 10-plus hits, knee sprain injury.
Knee sprain, yeah.
You have Josh Connerly blocking Max Crosby. I don't think this is the game you play.
So it's just tough if he's not going to be 100%. I got the Raiders.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Even if Jane Daniels does play, I'm going to stick with my pick here in the Raiders. Their defense looks physical. I love the way that the Commanders' defense has looked these first couple of weeks, but I still feel like there's a part of Geno Smith which is going to bounce back this week. And I think they have the weapons to do it. I think they're going to have the run game to do it. I want to see Ashton Genty just have a little bit more grass, a little bit more open runaways so that he can be more efficient. But I think for as well as the Commanders' defense has looked that,
Sorry, bro.
You're good. I expect the Raiders to get 20-plus points. I think Geno will be more accurate, and most importantly, I think the Raiders will have a very impressive offensive performance in this game.
People are panicking on Genty.
I don't think so.
No, they're bugging out. He was solid against the Chargers. It's just he didn't know where to go.
And then press conference, he said, "You don't draft a guy like me, and I'll give me the touches." I said,
they gave him over 20 week 1.
Or
yeah,
He needs to get touches. That's
They
what
were.
he
I
needs
mean,
to get.
the thing that probably pisses people off is that 2-minute drill. He's off the field. It was
Samir White, which is
not even so. The white dude. What's his name? It starts with a B. Well, I can't think of his name.
not in my head.
The Raiders' backup running back.
Backup, pretty much.
I think he was like the 2-minute guy when they were down and just trying to come back.
Dylan Wabe.
I
I
just
only
think
remember
that,
Sincere.
Labe. Yeah, I said B.
I think right now it's just they need to, the rookies in general, the running back rookies need to understand how to pass protect better.
No one's been good.
No, Trevion
basically got benched last week.
Yeah, he got yanked out of the game because he allowed a sack.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Brooks was coming straight
3
at
holding
him.
penalties.
Yeah. It's just, listen, like Jordan Brooks was
great.
coming straight at him. And Trevion, instead of trying to cut block him, he blocks him straight up. This is Jordan Brooks, who's one of the better linebackers.
He's running right through you.
Exactly. So Mike Vrabel talked about it in the press conference, like that right there, you need a cut block. You need a cut block. And Trevion allowed a sack. And it was just
the big
ugly.
play to Ramondre on the right side of the sideline.
Got called back because of him?
No. It got. It was a wheel route to Ramondre.
That should have been Trevion.
And in the next couple of days, Vrabel goes on to one of the radio shows and said, "Yeah, we practiced that this past week, except it was Trevion in." And then, of course, because he gets benched, it's Ramondre.
Yeah, Trevion scores
Trevion
on
gets that. That's a touchdown.
Yeah,
Like, what are
might
we
have
doing?
been. It might have been.
Trevion had a screen in the game that was really awesome. He looked so explosive.
Yeah.
But he just needs to
tragedy.
learn the other
It
things.
is a tragedy.
He'll play eventually. He'll learn how to do that.
Joel drafted him. And me and Joel had some heavy conversations about the rookie running backs coming in, not named Genty. I wasn't high on Omarion. I wasn't high on Trevion just because they're young. There's guys ahead of them. Obviously, we knew Omarion would play. He was a first-round pick. But them bringing in Najee, I didn't like the situation.
We're saying for fantasy.
For fantasy football solely. We know we think that they're going to be good. Trust me. I definitely believe that Omarion.
Well, Bashal Tulin might be better than most of them.
Tune's also nice.
Tune's
so
good.
explosive.
Tune's good.
Bashal
more
Tulin is
opportunity.
like amazing. So I would not be shocked.
He's better than Zach Charbonnet.
Is he Devon Achane? Would you comp him there?
No.
Do you understand what I'm
bigger.
saying by that?
Yeah, he's bigger.
No, I say that where
Lamar Power.
He could break tackles.
Lamar Power. So.
That's the difference. But speed,
nobody saw Achane coming.
Oh yeah, I see what
Oh,
you're
okay.
saying.
He's
Yeah.
more so Bucky. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, Bashal's more so Bucky. Same
Bucky's a better
offense.
comp for sure because I think Achane's pretty one of one because of his speed and his tackle breaking ability because of it.
And he's just an elite pass catcher too.
He is.
Next game, the Steelers versus the Patriots.
This has been the toughest game.
I was split on it.
Okay.
I was split on it.
I'm gonna let you guys pick first. I've given my pick first every single time, so let me hear you guys.
A couple things that I'm taking into consideration here. Number one, the Steelers have over 300 plus yards after the catch this year, which is the most of any NFL team through 2 weeks. It's not even close. The Patriots are not really good at tackling right now in their secondary. At their linebackers, Robert Spillane has been awful for them in coverage, and they don't have good linebackers, and their defensive line, it's more of a rotational situation right now. Sometimes Milton Williams and Christian Barmore are on the field together. That's usually on third downs. On early downs, man, it looks rough for New England. They cannot stop the run at all. I think Pittsburgh, although they have a porous offensive line, they can move the ball on New England. Their defense right now, even with getting back Christian Gonzalez, who I think will play this weekend, I still don't trust the middle of that defense. It's very vulnerable. They don't have good depth at all. Their backups are terrible. With New England, though, I'm just very fascinated at Drake May right now, how well they've been able to run that offense. I've been fascinated at how well sometimes they can run the ball. They ran the ball against Miami. There's something about this game that's just weird to me. I think the biggest thing that I'm focusing on right now is how bad the Steelers defense has been and how badly they really need a get right game. Like if there's a game for TJ Watt to look like TJ Watt of first half of last season, it's against Morgan Moses and an offensive line that doesn't have much experience. So I'm kind of leaning Pittsburgh in this matchup, although New England is it's such a 50-50 game. I don't like putting my faith in the Steelers offense to do anything.
You shouldn't put your faith in the Steelers. They've given up 32 points a game the last 2 weeks to Justin Fields and Sam Darnold. The defense is so poorly coached, and a lot of it goes back to Tomlin. He will have absolutely no criticism to him. His PR is unmatched. Tomlin is the de facto defensive coordinator. It was leaked years ago by their former DC, and the way that he's utilized Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay's put them in really bad spots in these first couple of weeks for receivers like Cooper Kupp to go off. And really, our defense has been a get-right week for everyone that we played. And I expect this week, Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs to have their best games yet. That being said, I am going with the Steelers in this matchup. We haven't beat the Patriots in a long time, and I do expect this offense to look better. For as bad as the run game has been, I expect the run game to be a little bit better. I think Rodgers last week played well enough, and I expect these weapons to play more like they did against the Jets. It is a tough game because New England always plays this well. They're a physical team. But it really goes back to me looking at this matchup and saying to myself, I think Deacon Metcalf's going to have a better game. I think Arthur Smith's play calling hasn't been an issue. Week 1, it was very good. And I think this offense is going to win the game for the Steelers rather than the defense playing poor or bad. I think the defense will be slightly better. That being said, I just don't feel great about the Steelers team right now because you're paying $160 million for this defense. And like you highlighted, TJ Watt only has 3 pressures through 2 weeks. So I'm hoping that in this matchup, he is able to kind of bounce back. And with no Highsmith to reinforce that he's still an elite player.
I'm taking the Steelers in this game too. I don't feel great about it, but right now I don't feel great about either team. When I look at the Steelers, I mean we said to start the show, right? Because in week 1, Rodgers, the numbers look great, and I was like, I watched him. He was fine. And then in week 2, I was like, damn, he made some throws. I was like, holy shit. I was like,
There's some turnovers like Vince's Rodgers.
I was like, hold on now. I was like, okay, all right. Because he had some throws that were like, holy shit. Like this is, the arm talent is still there. Obviously can't really move like he did, but, get out of the pocket and at least find yourself like an open throwing lane. So, this matchup is tough because New England, everyone was high on me included through 2 weeks. Bit disappointed. Week 1 losing at home to the Raiders. Week 2 in a dogfight against on the road divisional matchup Miami. I get it. I'm not going to sit here and like really knock them for it. They ended up winning the game. But you just can't have a lot of confidence in them in really any matchup, but definitely not in the Steelers one. So even though I don't love at all, I mean, I hate what the Steelers defense looks like right now. Mm-hmm. I have faith that they're going to be able to do just a couple of things right. You got the best kicker. You have, a young quarterback you're going up against. I don't feel great about either of these teams. I just think the Steelers pull it out.
This game's such a toss-up that you three going with the Steelers is leaning me to go with the Patriots. Mm-hmm. However, they were in a dogfight with Miami, and Miami's defense, as bad as we may think the Steelers' defense is, it is not Miami's.
They were in a dogfight with the Jets.
They were in a dogfight with the Jets.
Great counterpoint.
Very, very strong counterpoint. However, they were in a dogfight with Seattle, and Seattle was able to edge them out.
Caleb Johnson, if he doesn't fumble that touchdown last week, it's like we
would have won that
game.
That's what I kind of feel.
The biggest swing for New England, I think, is
should have lost week 1 then if you're doing that.
Should have lost week 1.
That's what we're going to do. We should have won week 2.
Rookie kick returners and walk out the stadium instead of receiving the kick in the end zone, we win that game.
I'm not going to lie. That was brain dead. That was brain dead as hell.
The Steelers beat themselves last week, and that's kind of what I failed to bring in my analysis, the fact that most weeks it's the Steelers forcing to make 1 or 2 mistakes in the second half. Versus the Jets, that's what it was. It was that fumble kick return. The Steelers took that, and they're like bandages to a W on the road. Yeah, you gotta catch. I told you before the game. I said poor Brand Stevens. He was getting shredded all day. Here's the thing.
I knew he sucked.
In week 2, the Steelers beat themselves. In week 3, I think that's gonna even out.
I think the biggest swing in this game is Gonzalez coming back because Alex Austin, their opposite corner, he's top 5 in most yards allowed through 2 weeks. For him, it's not fluky though. For him, like Jalen Ramsey's number 1. I think it's a little bit fluky for him based on how their defense is playing. For Alex Austin, he's just kind of losing. And that is a weak point that you can pick on if Gonzalez isn't there. If Gonzalez is back, then Gonzalez with Marcus Jones and Carlton Davis, okay. I like their secondary, but Alex Austin is just a major red dot when he's on the field.
I'm going to pick the Patriots, man. I'm going to believe in Drake May being
He's
able to dot it up.
He's
and
in.
I said it, and I'm going to say it again.
Top 10 EPA.
I'm in. I think he's really good. And going up against
I don't
the
believe you for
Steelers,
seconds.
going up against the Steelers, he should eat. Keyshawn Butte, fire him up. Trayvon Henderson, TBD. That brother can't block to save his life. But Drake May can ball. And I think that you can do enough in this game versus the Steelers at home to win this game.
Trevion, he actually terrifies me.
21-17 game.
Because he's so smooth on my bench, and I'm just like, he's dropping 25.
Nah, it's due. He's due.
Like, everyone's benching him. You saw him get benched in real life in week 2. No one has faith, and he's going up against a bottom 5 defense so far. And it's like,
I just started, man. Take the risk.
What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?
Nothing.
Fire him up. Fuck it.
I don't know.
He's gonna get opportunity. He just
I don't know
can't
if I'm
make
going
the
to start him
mistakes.
over realistically.
I'll take a look and I'll let you know.
Next game up, the Saints.
Before we move on, do we put on the game?
What time does it start?
8:15.
You want to finish pick 'em? We're almost done.
Can we? Because I do have to leave soon.
Okay, sure.
All right. Saints versus Seahawks.
I'm taking Seattle. Not thinking too much about this. Defensively, I'm excited to see what they do against the Saints, albeit Rattler's been good, man. And I like exactly what I've been seeing out of Jawan Johnson. Jawan's been that guy that I've been sneaky high on over these last couple of years. Just the situation hasn't been good enough for him to thrive. And also his body has also failed him. But this, he looks to be the healthiest he's been, even though he's still struggling to stay on the field. He plays through contact. The guy's he's a dog. He really is physical. He's been great to start this season, but regardless, I really like what I've seen out of Seattle, especially last week. Getting Kenneth Walker back on track. JSN's having that full breakout year. It's not just like a week 5 surgence. No, he's here, started week 1. Him and Sam have an immediate connection. Shout out to your boy Horton for getting to the end zone last season. That was very cool to see. But I think everything just clicked for them offensively down the stretch of the game. Sam really got comfortable after having those early turnovers, and he really put together a really good game all in all. I'm going to take Seattle here. Excited to see what they do this game.
Yeah, Juwan's cool because he's basically just getting used as a slot. Like,
Hell
he's
yeah.
not, really this inline traditional tight end. But he's getting mismatches, and he's been, taking advantage. He's been fantastic. Kellen Moore bringing, new life into this offense. They're top 10 in terms of plays run. They're a fast-paced team. They're running a lot of plays. So, they probably aren't going to be like the most efficient, the most explosive, but they're going to run a lot of plays on offense. So it's going to, try to catch up to some of the lack of inefficiency. But I got Seattle here. Seattle's the better team. Love what I'm seeing for the defense for the first couple of weeks. Got, a little lucky and got a little lucky in week 2 with that fumble going through the end zone or getting recovered in the end zone, because that was anyone's game up to that point. But the Saints right now, just they're not in the same tier as Seattle.
No, they're not. But I will say that this offense looked very impressive. Spencer Rattler played a very good game last week versus the Niners, and I think there's a lot of interest and intrigue in watching this matchup to see if he can build off of that and just kind of also Alvin Kamara as well. There's a lot of layers to the Saints offense where it's like if Rattler can play well enough, you have the weapons in place for this offense to be competent. I've also got Seattle. I think that this offense, it's clearly found something last week, getting that get right week. I think having Kenneth Walker playing as well as he did coming in this matchup, it gets them kind of more well-rounded offensive approach coming in. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks, but I think this is going to be a one-score game.
I think Seattle's defense is just one of the elite units in the league. Byron Murphy Jr. is really taking that step into being a star in this league. His pass rushing juice is just off the charts. And the defense as a whole is just really good. The secondary, Tariq Woolen is susceptible to a mistake or two. But what's kind of changed that is that Josh Jobe has been really good for Seattle. Josh Jobe has really broken out to a point that you feel comfortable with him being the outside boundary corner there. And they have Devon Witherspoon in the nickel, who didn't play against Pittsburgh, I believe. No. So we'll see if he plays this week. Yeah. But I like the Saints a lot. I like Spencer Rattler and how he's played.
You like Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore, he's actually running a good offense right now. And I like how it looks.
Took McCarthy over him.
Yeah. The Spencer Rattler, I think he's just 1 to 2 mistakes away a game from really having that wow week. Last week it was against the 49ers where he missed Olave in the end zone on an inaccurate throw. Good decision, just bad throw. And I just feel like he's really close to having a big performance, but I don't see it against Seattle. And I think Sam Darnold's going to play really well against what is a pretty bad Saints defense. One thing I like about the Saints, though, their offensive line. I think they figured it out. Kelvin Banks Jr. at left tackle looks awesome, and Fuaga also at right tackle looks awesome. I think they have really good competent protection from the Rattler, and that'll help out. Next game up, I have the Seahawks, by the way. Next game up, the Broncos versus the Chargers.
I'm taking my shot on my boys. I think that is going to be a strong game. Chargers definitely have impressed me. I was talking a lot of negativity coming into the season. I didn't like the vibes from what what had happened in the offseason with the Chargers. You lose Rashawn Slater. We think that the offensive line is going to be terrible. We think that it's going to affect the passing game. It hasn't. The passing game has been great. Justin Herbert's been excellent. The defense through 2 weeks has been really good. I think versus the Chiefs wasn't great, but against the Raiders definitely held things down. But I think an advantage that we have, could be a funny one to you guys, but I think that it does hold validity, is J.K. Dobbins being in the building. That doesn't have to do with the fact that the Chargers have been really great against the run, albeit against two units that aren't the strongest. The Chiefs really because they don't have personnel at the running back position, but the Raiders also because their offensive line can't push around. But J.K. Dobbins bringing in information about the offense of last season to possibly help out the Broncos defense, which definitely did have a down week versus the Indianapolis Colts. I also think going up against the Chargers, Dobbins is going to be huge. He was very impactful against the Colts. Didn't even play 50% of snaps, but he was very efficient with his touches. And around the goal line, it's going to be his. I'm optimistic that we see a little bit more Harvey. But the last time we played against the Chargers, there was a lot of dink and dunk, methodical, take what the defense is giving you. And that got very old very quickly. And in the second half, we kind of let things go. And the Chargers were able to steal that game away from us. And Herbert happened. It was one of the best games Herbert had all season last year. I think going in on the road, I think we do split this season, but I think that with all the hype that the Chargers are getting, I think that we can surprise them this week. Bo Nix and the offense continues what they were building off of last week versus the Colts against the Chargers. But defense, this is a get-right game for them. The Chargers are really clicking on offense, but I think that there were moments during that Raiders game where we didn't see the most consistent offense out of them. Their rush game definitely has not been what we had anticipated coming in. I think that we can use that to our advantage. We can get after Herbert, make him uncomfortable, force him into some bad decisions, although he doesn't make much of those these days. I really think that Dobbins being in the building makes a difference, both on offense and for our defense. I think we shock the world. I think we win this game.
I'm going to be worried about the Broncos until Dre Greenlaw is healthy because their linebackers are awful.
That's true.
They can't cover. They are very
Singleton,
awful.
Sennard's not the worst. Singleton is.
They just really don't know what to do, and I think that's a big problem, especially when they need to know their assignments on coverage.
They need to know what to do.
They can't play man-to-man coverage.
Also, to be fair, Dre Greenlaw was supposed to be ready to go week one.
Yeah, run fit's also a big problem for them. And then really outside of Pat Surtain, there's nobody in the secondary that I trust to cover a man. I think that Riley Moss has been getting picked at. Surtain, even when he was allowing the catches against Indy, they were really tight contested catches. I mean, they were very difficult. So he really did his job. I think the Chargers are going to win this game. Their defense through 2 weeks is allowing an A dot less than 4. It's pretty remarkable. They take the umbrella off of they put the umbrella on the defense, what I'm trying to say. Offenses cannot throw deep on them. Their secondary, they close in so fast. I think that's their major calling card. They added speed to this defense with Dante Jackson, and the way that he can close in on routes is pretty incredible with the amount of speed that he has. And they're able to swarm and attack the ball carrier to where they're not allowing a lot of yardage. It was that way against KC. It was that way against Las Vegas. I think those two offenses are better than Denver's offense. And I think Bo Nix is going to have a turnover or two in this one. I think the Chargers defense is really an elite unit this year. And they got better than last year, even with losing Joey Bosa. Khalil Mack not playing.
That hurts.
Gives me some pause. But I think that they have enough on the interior and the way Dion Henley has been playing. And I think their offense is going to get ahead of the scoreboard. Their offense, they're awesome this year. They have so many weapons. And Amari and Hampton, people are making a big deal out of his rushing ability. number one, the offensive line for the Chargers is getting little to no push. That's the biggest problem right now. That Amari Hampton, Jackson McIntyre has a great RBIS metric about yards after contact after you break tackles. Amari Hampton is top 5. He's breaking tackles. There's just really no room to run. So I think the Chargers passing attack is going to be the bread and butter. We'll see if the rushing can get going, but overall, the Chargers defense is just too good. And I really like what I've been seeing these first 2 weeks. And I don't like what I've been seeing from Bo Nix at all.
Yeah, this feels like two teams that the vibes are kind of opposite right now. Denver, through 2 weeks, is one of the more disappointing teams. You know, they're sitting here at 1-1, but you were in dogfight at home week 1 against Cam Ward, where, man, you did everything to shut him down, but the offense really lagged behind. Then in week 2, the offense was able to move the ball. You were putting up points, and the defense couldn't slow down Daniel Jones in this Colts passing attack, or the rush attack for that matter, really. Jonathan Taylor with over 200 total yards. But so far, neither side has really clicked like you wanted to. And I'm not going to make any rash calls on Bo Nix just yet. Of course, he started off last year super slow and finished the year, fantastic. He was super efficient. The offense was humming. But so far through 2 weeks, it's been more negative than positive, I would say. You know, he has had some nice things schemed up, especially in that second game to, get some touchdowns up on the board. But down to down, it's been very inconsistent with him. I was expecting some growth coming into into year 2, just because you have a year under your belt with Sean Payton. This isn't the easiest offense to figure out. You're a rookie quarterback. He expects a lot. But the way he ended with so much momentum, I would expect him to hit the ground running. Maybe he just needs to get a few weeks under his belt like he did last season.
He was great against the Colts, dude.
He was good against the Colts. He was fine. I didn't think he was great.
Why? Because of one pick in the red zone?
Because
all in all, dude, we had a lot of scoring drives.
You did.
And that weren't because of Bo Nix. He had 3 of 9 good drives.
I just didn't think there wasn't much there that left me impressed.
And the drive to basically ice the game, he put us in position to kick a field goal.
Yeah. I think when I look at the whole sample in week 1 and week 2, there hasn't been much impressive.
Week 1, there's nothing to say good. Week 2, he was genuinely good.
He was fine. You scored 30 points, right? He's far from the reason why you lost the game.
I just say this to say, like, the negative talk on Bo Nix should not be after this game. Yeah. After week 1, he was horrible. There's no defending it. What did he do on that
final drive, though? It was a big J.K. Dobbins run that put them in field goal range.
That's it. I agree with you.
He didn't do anything on that final drive, though.
We were able to be in field goal range.
Because of J.K. Dobbins, not because of Bo Nix.
It doesn't matter what you do regardless. In 3 of those 4 touchdown drives, it was majority of the passing play. He had a great connection with Troy Franklin on the day. All in all, he was really consistent.
Well, that's the bright spot of the day.
Troy Franklin
I'm looking at the final drive. It was 2nd and long, and Bo Nix missed a wide open dig and bailed out of a clean pocket. And they missed the field goal, but J.K. Dobbins, for the most part, he set up that drive. And
J.K. Dobbins was really good.
One of the scoring drives, J.K. Dobbins rushing the ball, set up the entire drive for the most part. And then Bo Nix finished it off with a rollout touchdown. I thought that Bo Nix missed a lot of throws, I'll be honest. I thought that he didn't read the field well. I didn't think it was a good game, to be honest. But, that's why I think he's going to struggle against the Chargers defense. I think the Chargers defense is a much different challenge.
Yeah.
If he plays well against the Chargers defense, then I think the first 2 weeks of the season don't matter much in terms of his performance. But we have to see how he plays. This is a defense that you play well against, you get a lot of my respect. And, you talked about, how they might have not played that well against KC. I thought they played very well against KC. It was just Patrick Mahomes and just made some Mahomes plays. But, that's one of one. That's very few players going to make plays like that. So if Bo Nix has a good game against the Chargers, I think a lot of what happened the first 2 weeks, they become more obsolete.
That's true. Now, I think this Chargers defense, like you highlighted, it's going to be the biggest test for this Broncos offense thus far. It's going to be a big week for Bo Nix, kind of build off of a much better performance. I'm putting my pick in the Chargers with how well their passing game has looked, even without being able to run the football really at all. It feels like this is the most command Justin Herbert has had over the game. And then stacking on top of that, I think at some point you're going to see this rushing attack improve, where last week Jonathan Taylor was unstoppable versus that Broncos team. And I know week 1, they really neutralized Tony Pollard, but there's just a part of me that sees a little bit more Najee Harris getting going as a receiver, and I think Amari and Hampton is bound to be a little bit better because I don't expect him to play really as worse or as inefficient as he has been. And then on top of that, I think this Chargers defense, even without Khalil Mack, they can generate pressure, and I think that this team all around, it's just a 3-0 start. It's going to put them on the map, and I think we need to start talking about them more and more as a team that can win this division, which is going to say a lot.
Win a playoff game, Mr. Justin Herbert.
7-0 Miami Dolphins.
Nice. That's good. Who scored?
Ollie Gordon.
That's one of those dynasty stashes you were talking about.
Nah, that's facts.
Cowboys versus Bears. I struggle with this one because I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair.
I do
I
too.
think the Bears are going to put up points. And it's funny looking at just the pass blocking ratings for every team because the Vikings made it top 10 in pass blocking ratings, even though they were so awful against Atlanta. But then I was like, oh, they played Chicago week 1. That makes sense. Chicago's defensive line is one of the worst in the league. They just lost Jalen Johnson. And I just trust the Cowboys and Dak to sustain more drives. That's really it. I think that if Caleb and the Bears offense has 5 of 10 great offensive drives, I think the Cowboys will have 7 of 10. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I think this is going to be a shootout game. I have Dallas winning.
Yeah, I got Dallas winning too. One of the best stories so far through 2 weeks has been Javonte Williams. Yeah, I thought in week 1 the numbers looked better than his play, but in week 2 I thought he looked pretty damn decent against the Giants. He ran for an efficient clip. Overall, though, the fact that they could get something from this ground game that I was really expecting nothing from is a plus. And of course, we know how great their passing attack can be when you have CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens getting 4 PI calls a game, but got into the end zone last week. Yeah, I think Chicago, all of their numbers get thrown off because of week 2, because they let up 50 points to the Lions. So when you look at some of their numbers, like they're the worst defense ever, the offense getting anything going, there's just been so much, I think, noise between week 1 and week 2, because I remember after those first damn 3 quarters, like, holy shit, Chicago, this is looking decent until the 4th quarter, we know what happened. And then the Lions had something to prove in week 2. So I think things are swinging a little bit too nasty the Bears' way. I don't think they're going to be this bad of a defense all season long, but I also don't have hopes of them being like a top 10 unit, right? I think they'll be somewhere middle of the pack. With that being said, Dallas can be able to move the ball against middle of the pack defenses. They're going to be able to move the ball against great defenses. So I got them winning this game against Chicago.
I'm taking the Cowboys, and it's because the Chicago Bears have been one of the worst defenses in the league to start the season. Cover? And it's true, especially with Jalen Johnson being out for the season, which is it's devastating. Jalen Johnson is one of the premier talents we have at the cornerback position. But they absolutely torched the Giants. And I thought the Giants put together a pretty decent performance against the Commanders, all things considered, week 1. Week 2, they did whatever they wanted against the Giants. CeeDee was excellent. George Pickens was excellent. Javonte was excellent. Ferguson was like, everything was clicking for them. I have no doubt that they're going to go out there and light up Chicago. Vice versa, I think Chicago is going to have a solid performance. Rome Odunze has been one of the breakout players so far this season. That was one of my calls this offseason, my breakout player. He's been living up to it. Him and Caleb have a really great connection. He's been by far and away their best offensive player. Like DJ Moore, barely heard anything about him. Rome has just been super consistent. Really excited with what he has going on. But I think that the Cowboys are just right now the more complete offense. They have the run game going. Swift, all things considered, had a solid ball game. Right? They were getting blown out, so it really didn't matter.
Garbage time touchdown.
No doubt, that definitely mattered. However, I think that just the way that the Cowboys have been playing offense, I feel a lot more safe with them. Their defense not great. However, I like their offense more. Give me
on the road, they're 49% odds to win, so they're an underdog in this game, and I'm also going Dallas, so I guess it's a clean sweep with all of us. Like you said, I think the Lions last week showed no mercy, and they really want to put their foot down and show that, no, fuck you guys, like, we are still an elite team without Ben Johnson. And I don't expect the Bears defense to look quite, actually, without Jalen Johnson, I don't think it's going to be a good unit this year. But that being said, I think this will be a closer game than last week because, I mean, they lost by 31 last week. My biggest takeaway is really just what is Javonte Williams going to be now that it's not a Jalen Carter-less Eagles defense in week 1 and then a Giant defense last week that didn't really tackle quite well despite how high our expectations were of them coming into the year. So if he can build off of this week 2 game with another efficient ground game,
I'm in pain, John.
It would be a very meaningful addition to a Cowboy offense that we thought would be one-dimensional. And I think, like we saw last week, Ferguson played a great game. George Pickens, the box score won't always indicate how hard he is to cover and just how often he can create extra opportunities to the offense, moving the chains with penalties. And I think CeeDee Lamb without Jalen Johnson is going to be absolutely killing this Bears secondary. So I could see CeeDee being wide receiver 1 this week. And I've got the Cowboys winning.
Cardinals versus 49ers.
This one was also difficult, but I'm going to be transparent with you. I don't give a damn about their injuries.
Taking the Niners?
Give me the Niners. Cardinals have been underwhelming to start this season.
I've been so out on
Didn't
them.
look good against the Saints. Really tried their hardest to lose against the Panthers. I have not liked them at all. It really has been hard for me to get on board with what they have going on considering competition. I'm staying consistent. I was hard on Jacksonville against mediocre competition. I'm going to be harsh against the Cardinals too. Yeah, they're 2-0, but it's not been a pretty 2-0. And with all the injuries that the Niners have had to face so far early on in this season, they've still been able to overcome and win ball games, albeit not against the strongest competition in week 2, but in week 1 going up against Seattle and basically stealing that game from Seattle. You got to give them their credit. That was really on Brock, but Brock's also questionable going into this game. I would be shocked if he played fully, especially given the fact that Mac Jones played relatively well versus the Saints last week. You can get another spot start for Mac, and I still think that you have a chance to win this game. McCaffrey looks great in the receiving game. Rushing game, still not his most efficient self. I think that has to do with the combination. 1, his burst not the same, but 2, I just don't think that line's getting the strongest push either. It really hasn't been the unit that we've known it to be. But still, the Cardinals' offense has been super spotty, inconsistent. Kyler had moments last week versus the Panthers where I was really excited. The run game should have been a little bit more dominant given it was going against the Panthers. It wasn't. Passing game really wasn't too great either. Marvin really wasn't that much of didn't leave that much of a print on the game. Michael Wilson had a touchdown, which is nice. I really like Michael Wilson. I think he's a talented player, but I just think that I've been too underwhelmed. With that, I'm going the Niners.
John just watered my plants with that sneeze.
God damn.
I got you anytime. You need water the plants. I didn't water them, but I did give it a good sneeze. I'll say that much. I will say one thing for this game. Mac Jones, the backup quarterback, to tell you not to worry about. Even if Brock Purdy doesn't play, I expect the Niners to win this game.
Give me him over Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I'm
Mac?
with that.
I'm with that.
And this Cardinals offense, I'm expecting more. They've been involving more Trey Benson, a little bit less James Conner outside the red zone where he's going to be the guy, but I feel like the biggest takeaway of the Cardinals, the defense looks better, and I feel like the offense just has more to prove. All things considered, I think in divisional matchups like this, I'm always going to favor San Francisco, even if Brock Purdy doesn't play. I'm sticking with my pick.
The 49ers aren't the only ones dealing with injuries. Right now, the Cardinals, Will Johnson is out. Garrett Williams
They got like
is
the
out.
top 3 corners all
Max
hurt.
Melton is out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like their secondary is decimated.
Ricky Pearsall to the moon, please.
Mac Jones is fine. He made some really big boy throws against the Saints where he's just like kind of ripping throws over the middle and just trusting his receiver to go get it. And I like that aggressiveness. I think he's going to get more comfortable with the offense as it goes on. And Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, CMC, I think that's more than enough weaponry that they need against Arizona. And Arizona has let 2 teams back into the games that I don't feel like needed to come back into the games.
Not at all.
I just feel like it feels overwhelming. It feels underwhelming. Collar feels underwhelming still right now. He should be off to a better start. And they're not running the ball well right now.
No.
That's the major thing. And last year, they were one of the 5 best rushing offenses in the NFL. Right now, they can't run the ball. And the 49ers have some additions on that defensive line. And Alfred Collins, who's a big boy, and CJ West. And then Bryce Huff is back to being Bryce Huff on pass rushing downs.
Does look good.
So him and Nick Bosa can make things hell on third down for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense. So I'm going with the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Niners too. I'm echoing a lot what you guys said, but the Cardinals are 2-0. I feel terrible about them. Like out of all of the 2-0 teams, they are the one team I'm looking at. Like, man, I respect it. Hats off to you, but wow, I could not feel worse about you winning these 2 games. I was watching basically every snap of the Panthers game because me and Drew were in a close fantasy matchup, and I had the Cardinals defense. So I'm really locked in because normally, we had the Eagles Rams on and the Broncos Colts, which were much more entertaining. But I kept it on there like, just see what it is. Man, it hurt watching Bryce Young just sit back there and kind of just scan the field and just being able to find guys. In the second half, really, they were not sending a lot of pressure at Bryce. They were not getting creative. They were kind of cool with just playing back and not getting beat over the top, which I get if you're up big. But towards the end of the game, it was close, and they were still letting Bryce kind of just dink and dunk his way down the field. It's maddening to watch. But
they need another wide receiver. Jalen Coker, get well soon, bro.
Yeah, they
Jesus.
do. They definitely do because Ted is a star.
He's
going to be a
amazing.
superstar, but they don't have much after that.
Renfro as well.
Renfro doing his thing.
I can't say it. I can't say that he's good.
But the Cardinals offense is the other side of this. Like, man, I wish I could be up here. Like, I know, Drew, you're always talking about Kyler.
I get it.
I love
get it.
Kyler. I always have love
it.
for Kyler.
Me too.
But we have too long of a stretch of him just kind of being whatever, kind of just being inconsistent that
Lawrence would never.
there's
win.
relax.
Stop.
There's a reason why he should be in top 10 talks. He has all the talent to be in top 10 talks, but he's not able to produce it on the field week in and week out. The connection with Marv through the first couple weeks, he was really solid in week 1.
Definitely.
And week 2, not as much. So
Thanks for
it's just still a bit unnatural.
You're welcome.
2-0, congrats, but I think they get their first loss here.
They both were dog shit last week.
They were.
Who?
Marvin Brees.
Oh, Brees was
But
awful.
it's
Yo,
just
James
that.
Cook, Omarion Hampton. You're going to have to live with that.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I didn't really take that in any leagues.
Thank God it's
But
right.
I definitely had that take.
So
early in the
the
season,
last
week
point
2.
I'll make
James
about
Cook
the
looks-
49ers
he's
defense
ugly.
is that Michael Williams, their rookie, is also a stout run defender. They line him up on the interior on pass rushing downs and on run downs at times. Their rushing success rate without him on the field is like 65% on defense in 21 plays. With him, it's like 26% in 31 plays. He's been a huge
That's elite.
swing. Yeah, he's been a huge swing for them. And Michael Williams is somebody that really has been playing well. Chiefs versus Giants.
This was
Sunday Night Football.
This was my other potential lock of the week. There's absolutely no way the Chiefs go 0-3 to start this season,
No
right?
way. This game
Right?
just makes me feel gross, though.
I wish I was
makes me
going
feel
to it if I'm being
gross.
honest.
So it's like a 2017 affair.
Yeah,
no,
but then
2017, that's a good call. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Really
Appreciate
good.
that.
the Cowboys. Okay, maybe the Cowboys even just sucks. But I mean, the Giants think they'll be able to throw against the Chiefs. I think they'll be able to pass the ball, move the ball down the field.
I thought they were going to do that against Washington. They didn't.
That's true.
They didn't. I'm going with the Chiefs comfortably.
Me too. I'm definitely taking the Chiefs. Definitely taking Chiefs.
Are they your pick of the week?
Of course, we
No.
know who he's going with.
Your pick of the week's on Monday?
Favorite.
Oh, who? No, who's my lock?
You don't have a lock?
No, I do. Like I have my Splash
this your
Sports
lock?
My lock was the Packers.
Yeah, my lock's the Packers. I'm considering the Chiefs, but I feel like I could use the Chiefs a little bit down the road.
I feel like sometimes people overthink locks because I'm not thinking about down the road. I'm thinking about surviving this week.
Agreed.
That's all I'm thinking about.
I'm
Week at a
Seattle
time,
right now.
brick by brick.
Seattle, pick of the week. Saints, low key. They've been one to. Is this the week they upset them?
Could be.
I'll be hyped.
Sam Darnold's been quietly
No, I
playing
know.
some really good football.
I'm praying on downfalls, Dells.
So
No, I get it. I'm not 100% sure I'm locked in. That was just when I went through it. I usually do it one time and then come back later in the week.
Green Bay
That's what I
versus
took.
Cleveland feels like the lock.
There's
of
no
the
way
week.
Green Bay loses, right?
Yes. No. If they lose, I'll be very
Never
disappointed.
seen effort, but
I'll have to call out my team if they lose.
But this game just feels kind of gross too.
Yeah.
It feels a little Green Bay Brownsy.
No, it
It
doesn't.
feels a little Green Bay
It's-
Brownsy.
bro,
Take the
I'm
Giants.
gonna be honest.
No way in hell.
Take the Giants.
There's no chance.
rock, paper, scissors.
No, I'm
You're
not
bitch.
taking the damn
You're
Giants.
a bitch.
Next, I got the Chiefs too. I think that goes without
also
being
got the
said.
Chiefs.
Pacheco bounce back game,
Oh,
baby.
God.
Really?
I'm gonna throw
Isaiah
up.
Pacheco.
Do you
Literally
believe
gonna
that, or are
throw
you
up.
just saying stuff?
I'm just saying stuff.
Respect.
But I was
W.
thinking about starting him in fantasy just to back up that
I
belief.
wouldn't.
Dude,
He
what a
hasn't
bad
had-
fantasy call by you.
Yeah, nobody wants to trade for him.
When's the last
Who,
time
Pacheco?
5 points in
Yeah.
fantasy?
Dude,
He's not.
Pacheco's
He's
so
literally
crazy.
terrible.
I
I don't know
hit
why
him,
you were
but-
so high on him coming into the year.
Because the workload, that's it.
Okay.
Well,
I
you
can
saw-
respect the
You
workload.
saw the
wait.
report that like Chiefs officials, coaches, whatever, were expecting Pacheco to do well. They said in training camp he looked great, and they were expecting him week 1 to just hit the ground running. He just hasn't.
I sent a trade to Kenny in the podcast league, and I sent Pacheco on a deal just to sweeten the deal a little bit. And he was like, I don't want that Pacheco guy anywhere near my team. I'm like, damn, what's wrong with him?
Honestly, he could hit the waivers. I don't think anyone would pick him up.
No.
Take him off my team,
It's just
man.
kind of gross to have.
I need
It's been a long time since he's hit 10
He's like,
points.
Just like I don't want to deal with this.
man, just wait until the Chiefs trade for Alvin Kamara.
okay.
I'm about to drop Pacheco in our dynasty league.
I'll
2
trade-
more weeks of this. I'm
All
just
right,
gonna
I'll trade for him.
trade values in the cutter of it.
He literally just said he's going to
He's
cut
gonna.
him.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's do a
get
trade.
third-round pick.
Let's do
I'll
a
gladly
trade.
take
Let's
a
do a
pick.
trade, John.
now I'm not going to cut him. Now I know there's suitors. So
I'm trading.
might only
I
have
want
one
to trade
suitor.
AJ Brown and I want to trade Terry McLaurin. Let's talk.
Okay.
You have Isaiah Pacheco. See if you can make something happen.
Yeah. Luckily, he's like the set with running back on my bench.
Yeah, let's talk, John.
I lost to Joel in that league by 0.2.
Damn.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Guess no one
Kobe
caught Sean
Myers.
last week.
Last
Shout out to
drive,
him.
Jacoby
No
Myers
way.
catch. Last drive.
Hate to
Because
see it.
Herbert handed the ball off to
Oh, and they fumbled.
Omarion Hampton
Yeah.
incorrectly.
Man, Kenny also, I beat him by a little bit too. That was a good matchup.
I'm 0-2 in that league, and I'll be honest with you, bro. That might be my worst league.
I don't know if I'm 2-0.
I didn't draft well in that league either. That's why I had to make a flurry of trades.
I don't hate that team. It's just that I think other teams are better than mine by a lot.
Yeah, Isaac has a
2-0
good team.
in that league.
He has a lot of good running backs
Bring it
on
home,
his
kid.
team.
I will.
What's
Or
your
you,
team
bring it
on the
home.
league? I'm 1-1.
I'm 2-0. I have Purdy, who's out, but Jordan Love. I have Jalen Warren, Tony Pollard, Travion Henderson. My receivers, though, are CD, JSN, Igbuka, Keenan Allen, and Smitty. My tight end is Trey McBride.
My team in that league, I traded Jettas. I traded him for JT. So my team is Herbert, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, Lab McConkey, Garrett Wilson, Travis Kelce, DK Metcalf, the Seahawks defense, and on my bench I have Judkins, Sam Darnold.
It's a good team.
And the Broncos defense. Yeah.
Team.
I have some weaknesses. I picked up Dontavian Wicks. He's starting in my flex spot.
Wow.
I believe in
You
him.
feel good about that?
I feel good about him this week.
Okay.
That's why I feel good about the Packers versus the Browns, baby. Come on. We're not going to get into no ugly game against the Cleveland Browns.
No way?
No way.
No chance.
No chance.
It's the last thing that would happen.
No chance. It would. That would happen to the Jets, not Green Bay.
I mean, every game's ugly for the Jets, so it's not saying much.
Lions versus Ravens. Last game of the week.
Monday Night Football.
Give me the Ravens. Give me the Ravens. I really like the Lions, especially after last week, and I really want to give a shout out to my brother, River Brown. He kept me on pace. He kept me on track, and sometimes you need your brother to keep you in check. He did. The Lions, I'm still keeping my faith. However, Ravens offense the last 2 weeks has been nuts. And Derrick Henry got shut down, and they still were able to dominate the Cleveland Browns defense, put up points as much as they wanted. Lamar was kind of stat padding very quietly.
No, loud
Yeah,
stat
yeah,
padding,
it was-
and
it
I
was-
respect it.
It was nuts.
I respect it.
However, this is going to be a shootout. I'm really excited for this game, and I think that they're really emphasizing the word prime time this year so far. We've gotten a lot of great primetime games so far to start this season. I think this is going to be one of them. I'm expecting a high-scoring game, but I think the Ravens need to win this game more than the Lions need to win, because the Ravens, they're the team to beat in everybody's eyes, it seems, unless you're, of course, a Packers fan. In the AFC, they're the team to make it out. They're the most talented squad, the most complete squad. And the people are looking at the Lions a little sideways because they've lost a lot. But the Ravens, they've got expectations. You choked it to the Bills. You bounced back the way that you should have against the Browns. But if you go out there against the Lions and you choke it again in a late game situation, people are going to be looking at the Ravens like they're really frauds. Like, people already have their questions about the Ravens, whether they can get it done in clutch situations because of Harbaugh, because of the crazy amounts of leads that he's blown. But I think the Ravens need this one a little bit more than the Lions do, especially at home. They need to handle business. Give me Baltimore.
Taking the Ravens every single week. It doesn't matter who they play. It doesn't matter where they play. It doesn't matter who's playing. As long as Lamar Jackson's on the field, I'm taking the Ravens to win.
I'm going with Baltimore. I just think that it's a much bigger test than Chicago's defense.
Yeah.
And I think Lamar has his way with the Lions when he's played them last couple of times, and he just owns the NFC. So I'm going with Lamar Jackson and the
Statement
Ravens.
game. I'm also going Baltimore, so I suppose this is a clean sweep. I think Derrick Henry's going to bounce back game after a very quiet week 2, and Lamar Jackson to me is going to have a performance that catapults him to the top of the year leaderboard of the MVP stands. I think
He
this
should
is gonna
already
be a
be
big
there.
game for him if he
Should already be there.
Already.
All right, let's get into Dell's and I's starts and sits of the week. That wraps up our week 3 pick'em, sponsored by Splash Sports. Use PICKAS.
PICKAS.
PICKAS. I really like this week of fantasy football, Dells, and I want to say thank you to you for holding it down last week for us.
I hate this week of fantasy football because my team sucks.
It sucks for you, genuinely, and I'm really, really sad for you. However, I feel like we haven't had a lot of animosity coming into a fantasy football season in a while, and I feel like this was the most debate we've had in years. And for that, I'm kind of happy that the way that things have turned out, the way that they have so far to start the season, outside of course, Joe Burrow getting injured. Nobody wants that. That really sucks.
That hurt.
I was not preying on your team's downfall in that regard, but your fantasy football opinions, I was. However, last week you held it down for us. I was coming back from a 12-hour shift, didn't have time to lock in my starts and sits. You held down an amazing segment. This time, I'll be joining you. I'll be helping you out a little bit. So let's do it. Week 3, our starts, our sits. At the quarterback position, Dells, I'll start us off. I'm going with Dak Prescott. Going up against the team that allows the most fantasy points to the quarterback position, the Chicago Bears. Jared Goff absolutely lit them up. And in a week where J.J. McCarthy literally had 1 quarter of good quarterback play, he still finished with 22 fantasy points. Dak Prescott coming off an amazing week versus the New York Giants and going up against Chicago, especially with Jalen Johnson unfortunately going down to injury. It should be a light show. Goff has nothing to do with this game outside of the fact that he lit up the Bears last week. Dak can finish as the quarterback 1 this week. I'm really anticipating an amazing performance from him. He's my quarterback start of the week.
He was in consideration. My star of the week, though, going back-to-back weeks here, Drake May. Going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have been one of the worst defenses in football. We saw in week 1 what Justin Fields did. Justin Fields played so good after week 1 that people were buying into the Jets. You know how good you have to play for people to buy into you.
But it sounds special.
That maybe they are. But that's the performance Fields put up in week 1. Then in week 2, Darnold throws for nearly 300 yards on this defense. It's been a team that has not been able to do much. They have not been able to stop the run. The pass rush has not been what it has been in years past. Drake May in week 2 against Miami, another putrid defense, was a top 5 quarterback for fantasy football. He could use his legs. He's going to be able to put up points this week. Drake May's my start for quarterback.
Absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I'm really a strong fan, and I really am anticipating a great matchup versus the Steelers.
And let me ask you guys something. Maybe we should put some stakes on these starts and sits. Maybe you guys have one each start, one each sit, and we see at the end who comes away with the most and least points.
We could do that.
So with your start to see, Dell starts versus Drew starts, who comes away with most points each week?
I like that.
I like that too. Now, that makes things difficult because then are we forced not to pick the same player? So I think that each week, that's strong. Each week, we alternate who sends their pick first.
I'm with it.
Now we move on to the running back position. I'm going with Jordan Mason. Dell's already laid it out for you guys. This is my guy this week. Going up against Cincinnati, they've allowed the 3rd most points to the fantasy running back position. But understanding, no Aaron Jones. He's out with a hamstring injury. No Ty Chandler. He is the guy. Going up against one of the worst rush defense in the league, Jordan Mason should have a field day. If he's on your team, you drafted him, he needs to be a star.
Yeah, I can't imagine not starting Jordan Mason. I picked him up in 3 or 4 different leagues, honestly. He's starting everywhere. Same with this running back. I didn't draft him a lot of places, but you got him late like Jordan Mason. Javonte Williams is a must start. He's not just a must start this week because they're going up against the Giants, but he's a must start because not the Giants, certainly the Bears.
Chicago.
Giants last week, going up against the Bears this week. But it's because of the workload he's getting. He's averaging 17 carries a game. He is the goal line back. He's had 2 touchdowns in week 1, another touchdown in week 2. What was most encouraging is last week he had 7 targets. 7 targets, 6 receptions. That just boosts your floor so much, and as well as your ceiling, because if you're able to take one of those receptions, it's a lot easier to rack up yards and touchdowns when it's a reception compared to a rush. So Javonte this week going up against Chicago, they've won the highest over-unders of the week. We know how great this Dallas offense has been. Javonte running back.
Sometimes if you love someone, you have to let them go. And that's kind of me with Javonte Williams, and it breaks my heart to see him doing well, but at the same time, I'm really happy for him because he deserves it. He's a great dude, great football player.
Great dude.
Excellent job. Now we move on to the wide receiver position, and I'm a fiend for a stack. And I'm not going the obvious route of CeeDee Lamb. That's disgusting. That's one thing that Dell's and I have integrity on. We don't go superstars, unless the superstar's been having down weeks. You're allowed one to have a get-right week. However, mine's going to be John's guy, George Pickens. They're going up against Chicago Bears. Listen, there's a trend. We have Dak. We have Javonte Williams, and we have George Pickens.
Just take anybody on the Bears-Cowboys game.
Essentially, George Pickens going up against the team that allows the most points, but what's been really exciting for me is he's been targeted in the end zone the most this season next to Devontae Adams. When they get to that part of the field, they are looking his way, and they're taking deep shots as well. These aren't just red zone opportunities. These are deep down the field. George Pickens, they know that he can beat his man one-on-one. They're taking those shots. I really like George Pickens this season. I felt this way coming in with the amount of attention that CeeDee Lamb was going to draw. George Pickens is way better than being a wide receiver too. Like a strong one next to CeeDee Lamb. It's a no-brainer. He's going to have an amazing week.
Let's add one more player to the mix because you have to start Rome Odunze if you have him.
Hell yeah,
he's been a top 5 receiver so far in fantasy football. Through 2 weeks, 20 targets, 13 receptions, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The offseason talk was real. He is what this offense runs through the air. DJ Moore, shout out to you. You're not the one here. It's Rome Odunze. He's the one getting the most valuable targets. He's the one that has Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson's trust right now. and you're going up against Dallas. It doesn't get much better than that. Not only did Malik Neighbors go for 160, Wan'Dale Robinson, who had the lowest yards per reception for a player in NFL history to have 100 receptions last year, 100 targets, whatever it was, goes for 140. They combined for 300 receiving yards.
Jesus.
Dallas can't stop anybody. Rome Odunze's off to such a hot start. He's in for me at wide receiver.
I love that. Now, the tight end position always gets dicey, and Dels and I spoke about that the last 2 seasons. I'm interested to see who you went with at your tight end start of the week. Mine's going to be Harold Fannin going up against the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers have been amazing so far to start this season on the defensive side of the ball. If there's one position that they've kind of lacked to guard, it has been the tight end. In the first 2 weeks, Green Bay has allowed an average of 7 catches and an average of 76 yards to the tight end position. The difference was last week, Zach Ertz was able to get into the end zone, which kind of made their position right now of points allowed a little bit worse than what it is. But the volume of which these tight ends are getting the ball, Laporta had a really strong week. He seemed to be the only player for Detroit to have a good week against Green Bay. And then last week we saw what Ertz was able to do. Now Harold Fannin, he's been on the field, which is what intrigues me the most about this start and the Cleveland Browns and Harold Fannin as a whole. Week 1, he plays 72% of snaps, 55 snaps total. Week 2 drops down a little bit, but he still plays 46 snaps, 63% of snaps in week 2. He had 9 targets in week 1, 5 targets, bringing in all of them in week 2. He's extremely valuable to this team, and going up against the Packers, who the Packers have done a great job of essentially limiting everything on the field except the tight end position, where people normally would think it would be Njoku. Njoku really hasn't been what we have known Njoku to be, especially what we thought he would be with Joe Flacco, given the last time we saw the two together. Harold Fannin and Joe Flacco are on the same page, and Hannon has the head coach's trust immediately. I'm really expecting a good game from him.
I love Fannin. But my start of the week, Juwan Johnson. We talked about him a bit earlier in the
Great
Seattle
start.
matchup. It's kind of similar to the Packers, right? You have faith in Seattle's defense. They're going to be able to shut some things down. But they have given up touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. George Kittle plus the backup in week 1. Darnell Washington got himself in the end zone in week 2. But it's not just the touchdown upside. This passing offense kind of runs through Juwan Johnson now. He has 20 targets, the most on the team through 2 weeks. And the Saints were in the 7th most plays under Kellen Moore. So he's going to have opportunity in a game that, not just this game, but most games the Saints are going to be trailing. They're going to be having to throw the ball. Juwan Johnson's been the focal point of that passing attack.
Love that start. Now let's move on to our sits of the week. My sit at the quarterback position, Joel, the guy you believe is going to have an amazing game. You trust him, no doubt. This is your stamp of the week. I am sitting Trevor Lawrence.
It's hard to start him against the Texans.
In the first 2 weeks of the season, John, we spoke about it ad nauseum to start this show. Underwhelming against the Panthers. He had a good fantasy performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. Don't get me wrong. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 270 yards. Fantasy football, he had a great start, but going up against this Texans defense that has not allowed a team to, or didn't allow Stafford and the Rams they held them to under 14 fantasy points. They've held Baker and Stafford to an average of 230 passing yards. And again, Baker started the game on fire and did nothing until the very last drive of the game. And even still, he didn't finish with 20 fantasy points. With the way that he looked against Cincy, with the way that he looked week 1 against the Carolina Panthers, going up against this Texans team, I can't feel confident in Trevor. I'm going to sit him.
I'm sitting Matthew Stafford, who's coming off a fantastic week against Tennessee in terms of stats, almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. But when you're going up against Philly, even though I think the Rams are going to win this game, it's still going to be tough. In week 1, we saw them shut down the Dallas Cowboys, who we saw in week 2 go off against the Giants, who was a defense we respect coming into the season. And against Mahomes, they shut him down as much as they could. It was just Mahomes and his legs. Mahomes had 60 or 70 rushing yards in that game. So he ended up having a good fantasy week. But we know that's not what Stafford does. Stafford's not going to go out there and have 6-7 rushing attempts and get 10 a clip. He's going to do most of his damage in the pocket, picking apart this Eagles defense. And although I have questions about Philly and their offense, if they could put up points against the Rams, they're going to do a hell of a job when it comes to guarding Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I'm expecting the Rams to be able to get enough done. Of course, you're still starting Puka and Tay, but this feels like a game that Kyron Williams around the goal line, you're going to be seeing him a lot, and it's like a 2-20-1 for Stafford. But a few others, because this is more like if you're in a 2 QB league or if you're looking for a streamer, Daniel Jones going up against the Titans. We've seen how great he's been. Sam Darnold going up against the Saints and Russell Wilson against KC. Like, these are all kind of like ugly options, but Matthew Stafford would be the least excited compared to those other 3.
I definitely thought about Daniel going up against Daniel going up against Tennessee. That one kind of scares me, especially.
I don't love it either.
It's true because
just
again,
some of the rushing upside, I like them more than Stafford.
Until the second half, Stafford was, and the Rams offense as a whole kind of looked okay, and then they turned it on.
Yeah.
They really got things going. Devontae started to bug out. Puka was amazing. But it took until the second part of the game for Stafford to figure it out. Daniel going up again, I really believe it's a JT game. Now, moving on to the running back position, I'm interested to see where you're going, Dels, because mine's going to be Tyrone Tracy going up against the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs already, we understand they have one of the better rush defense in the league. That's obvious. But in week 1, Tracy saw 74% of snaps. That dropped to 42% against Dallas in week 2. Was drastically but outsnapped by a rookie in Scadaboo. That is not ideal. Tracy coming in, I liked. I think that he was a talented player. But I think going up against Washington, he didn't have much of a chance to be successful whatsoever. They gave him a lot of opportunity. In week 2, they gave him opportunity, wasn't great. Scadaboo was really, really positive in his opportunities. I wouldn't be shocked if they start to turn the other page towards Scadaboo because Scadaboo made some big time plays for them down the stretch of the game. It's unfortunate, but especially going up against KC, it may be troubling waters for Tyrone Tracy. I really don't like him this week.
I'm sitting a guy that I think everyone was excited for this season, and it looks like he has opportunity, but I'm still worried about Bill. Still worried about your Ja'Cory Cross-Gamart going up against the Vegas Raiders. Eckler's out, torn his Achilles. Prayers up to Eckler. We hope you come back next year and the same player you were. But now it feels like Bill has this runway to kind of take the job over. But I think the Commanders, number one, have a tough matchup this week against the Raiders that if you're just going off of what last year and what you think of the Raiders, it's their bad defense, start whoever. That hasn't been the case so far this year. They are number 5 in rushing success rate and number 1 in rush EPA. This has been one of the best rushing units in football, and that was one of these weeks going up against Marion Hampton, the Los Angeles Chargers, and then another one with Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson, who, of course, we don't have high hopes about Ramondre, but then in week 2 tore apart the Dolphins and looked like the old Ramondre self. Yep. So this is a defense that's really been able to limit the running back position. And then the other two guys there, you have Jerry McNichols and you have Chris Rodriguez, who I'm assuming is going to be, active for this game because he's been inactive with Eckler playing. But with Jaden Daniels potentially being out, you're going to have a backup quarterback going up against a tough defense. And Ja'Cory hasn't gotten any pass catching work. He's gotten, I think, 1 target in back-to-back games. Of course, Eckler plays a big role, but I don't think he's taken that over. And that's what's really valuable to make you a steady week-to-week starter. So give it a couple of weeks. Perhaps we're in the game where it's more positive game script and they're going to be winning or we're expecting them to win against a weaker opponent. I would be in. But this matchup against Vegas, I'm a bit concerned about.
For the wide receiver sit of the week, I went bold. And I sent you these picks, and I was wondering where your head was at. We had a little bit of a conversation beforehand. I'm torn between 2 of these guys, and I think I'm going to come to a final verdict just to be final in our point total. I'm torn between sitting BTJ versus Houston. I'm torn between sitting Drake London versus the Carolina Panthers.
2 big heavy hitters.
These are 2 guys more often than not that are never going to leave your lineup or should never leave your lineup unless you have insane depth at the position. Now, for me in this situation, I have a team where I have the luxury of sitting BTJ. I have Devontae Adams. I have Tyreek Hill. I have CeeDee Lamb. I have amazing wide receivers in that league. In another league, I have an unfortunate situation where I'm forced to start Drake London. Drake London was my second round pick. I had a lot of stock in Drake London this season. Getting off to a shaky start to start the year, inefficient week 1, had a lot of opportunity, a lot of targets, but didn't turn it into much. Had a drop touchdown that could have gone either way if you ask me. It was pretty 50-50. But then week 2, he wasn't the focal point. It was Bijan, and he came into the game banged up. Going up against the Panthers, J.C. Horn, I said it early on, and I'm reiterating it again. He's here. J.C. Horn was worth the contract they gave him. When he is healthy, he's one of the best corners in football. Shut down BTJ. Last week, limited Marvin to basically being a non-factor in the game. Again, going up against the Panthers, I think that we see Bijan be the star and the focal point of the offense. It would not surprise me if they just go into that mode and Drake London has another subpar 7-point performance. That's kind of where I'm at. But you're going to start Drake London. I'm just understanding I'm not expecting a Drake London typical performance that we were accustomed last season.
Can I throw some names at you?
Let's hear it.
You would start, so would you start We're doing Drake London, not BTJ. So Drake London.
But Drake London's my final.
Okay,
answer.
Drake London or Zay Flowers against Detroit.
Give me Zay.
Devontae Adams against Philly.
Give me Devontae.
Garrett Wilson against Tampa Bay.
Hey, that's where things get nasty.
I'd rather Drake.
I would rather. With Tyrod's interesting, man. I'm thinking GW, bro.
Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay. DK Metcalf against New England.
Drake. Yeah, give me Drake.
Okay. Ted against Atlanta.
No AJ. Give me Ted.
Okay. You said you rate Tyreek over.
I'm
him, too.
starting Ted over BTJ in that league as well.
I don't hate that. BTJ's a stud. All right, I'll give my sit real quick for wide receiver here. It's in the same game where I have the quarterback sit. I'm trying to pull up my notes here. I have Stafford sitting on the Rams side. For Philly side, if you want to get crazy, AJ Brown. I guess if you're gonna go with Drake London, I'll go with AJ Brown.
Real.
I originally had Smitty in here, but if we're going bold at wide receiver, let's go bold. This is a passing offense that you just cannot trust right now. Like, I know, said it earlier, there's better days to come, but this Rams defense, it's tough, man. And when you look at when you look at AJ Brown and Smitty, the both of them, if it wasn't for a 50-50 ball that Jalen Hurts and Smitty connect with, we're talking about him having like 20 yards, and AJ Brown's running all of these slant routes, just these very low, valuable, less valuable routes rather than like a go route, a post route where you have an ability to catch the ball and go deep down the field. It's been a lot of stuff near the line of scrimmage and stuff that's just hard to get fantasy points because you're going to need a shit ton of yak for it to actually be valuable. Tough matchup going up against the Rams. I think some of the guys we said, Zay Flowers, he's been phenomenal. He has Detroit. I think I'd rather play him than AJ Brown. I'm not saying season long trade him for Zay Flowers, but just for this week, it feels a little matchup dependent, and the way the passing offense has been super alarming. And I think the worst part about it, as someone who is playing fantasy football, they're 2-0. So they don't care. If they were 0-2 or even if they were 1-1, I probably wouldn't be this concerned. But the fact that they're 2-0 and you have the OC saying, yeah, I think we need to have some more designed runs for Jalen Hurts. That's what we need in this offense. I'm like, man, I don't know if that's what I'd focus on. Like, can you add some? Sure, whatever. Jalen Hurts is a good rusher, but that's not what I'm trying to focus on. So right now, the fact that they're winning with this style of football makes me think that AJ Brown's like a touchdown or bust type of guy. If he gets a touchdown, you'll probably be happy. If he doesn't, it's going to be hard for him to rack up those stats.
Now let me ask you, of the names you gave me, would you also take those names over AJ Brown?
I would start Zay. I would start Tet.
Yep.
Garrett.
That one's the toughest
Garrett
one for me
tough.
by far.
It wouldn't feel great, but probably.
How about DK?
DK, yeah. I
think I would go AJ.
I would go AJ
With
as
Christian
well.
Gonzalez coming back too, I don't feel great.
I mean, he tore some last year for a touchdown.
He did.
DK?
He did.
I mean, listen, Christian Gonzalez first game back, he probably won't be locked down, but goddamn, when he's right, he's good.
Yeah, those are really good starts and sits of the week. We're going to make that graphic and keep those point totals. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side podcast. I had to make an executive decision and change my team name in our Dynasty League.
Okay. No more Icy Joes.
No more Icy Joes because my franchise player was Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow's injured. I had to make some executive decisions. So now I'm building my franchise around
Love hurts.
Jordan Love. It's Love Wins.
Smart decision.
Love wins is nice.
Love wins. And it's
Ally.
It's a Jordan Love, his back jersey, says Love, Packer
Smart
helmet.
decision.
Aura.
Yeah. Joe Burrow's on the trade block now, fellas.
Really?
I'll give you a call.
He is. Give me a call.
JJ McCarthy.
Oh, man. I'd rather have nobody play.
I'm glad you're turning the page on him.
And have Jordan Love.
Gave up on Bo, gave up on JJ.
Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield. I'm fine with those two.
That's cute.
And then I got Jackson Dart winning in the wings.
I respect that.
I'm going to go Jackson Dart. But that's going to do it for this episode. Make sure you guys go on Splash Sports, join our NFL Week 3 Pick'em contest to win prizes up to $2,000. Number one payout, I think, gets paid $750. So it's different. I think you get paid out of your top 3 or top 5.
Yep.
One of those. And also on QuickPicks, use code PASAS.
Pick
ass.
as.
Yes, get
ass.
100%
AS. Pick as.
deposit match. 100%
letters.
deposit match for you guys. User code for Splash Sports Quick Picks. Thank you for watching. You guys can follow us on Twitter at PicksIPod, on Instagram and TikTok at PicksIPodcast, and we'll see you guys next time.